always bow time.
How was everyone's first day at the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club?
Oh, me? I set the high score in mini golf.
I tried a new food called wasabi.
Oh, I did absolutely nothing. It was amazing.
There's no wrong way to be a winner. New $50,000 payout and $1 million cash word are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.54 to 3.58. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Make the most out of summer with great deals on a great selection of Ram light-duty and heavy-duty pickup trucks. And right now, during the Ram Make This the Summer event, get an exceptional deal on the 2024 Ram 1500, the most luxurious Ram 1500 ever. Or get a heavy-duty deal on the powerful Ram 2500 and Ram 3500, the most advanced Ram heavy-duty pickups ever. Make this the summer to remember with great deals on award-winning Ram trucks. See your local Ram dealer now during the Ram Make This the Summer event, based on standard and available features offered.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
What drives you? At 303 Car Care, we're driven to put the best detailing products in your hands. We create every formula, fill every bottle, and test every batch of 303 at our Chicago headquarters, always with quality in mind. From cleaners and coatings to our flagship aerospace protectant, you can trust that every 303 product does what the label says it's going to do. That's because 303 is driven by quality. Available at most auto retailers and Amazon.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione, tracking a beautiful but warm forecast as we go through the rest of our Friday. High temperatures should climb into the upper 80s with mostly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm tonight and tomorrow with potentially better coverage by the time we get to Sunday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 143 points to 40,706. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
O'Connell with 1 second, left wing three on the way, banks it in! He got it! I don't believe it!
Jeremy backs out, has Roberts on him, into the paint, rises up, big time!
Young throws, he's got Tommy, near side 2-1, touchdown Carolina.
To Ryan, catch and shoot three, right wing, he did it again! Ryan has 27! Anderson makes a save, and it's kept out by Martin! What a save! Martin just robbed Lindgren!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. Happy Friday. I'm Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox producing the show. Do you know what is the genius of the NFL? The genius of the NFL is it has absolutely mastered our attention span. Because right now we're at it's technically the off season, right? Games haven't started yet. Technically the off season. But there's preseason football this weekend, and because we've only been given scraps over the last however many months, it feels like a real football weekend. If they threw a preseason game in April, it would be too recent to regular season. We'd notice the difference. But it's just as we almost forget what it's like, just as we start craving it, it's back. So we have a football weekend this weekend. At least it feels that way. And the Panthers are playing the Jets. Or is it the real Panthers? Probably not. They're probably not going to play all the starters. Is it the real Jets? Probably not. I doubt we'll see Aaron Rodgers. But it's the Panthers playing the Jets. And it is an opportunity for the Panthers to build off of what they put on the field yesterday in a joint practice that we praised. Go back, listen. You can find it on our YouTube. You can find it in the podcast right here on this show. We had a good day yesterday because we were allowed to, because they earned Panthers praise. But I'm kind of treating it like a coach after a win, right? Enjoy it, celebrate it, enjoy it with your friends and family. Tomorrow, the work starts back up.
Yeah, 24 hours. 24 hours.
Yesterday morning, you had the joint practice. Bryce Young made plays. Aaron Rodgers was intercepted by a rookie. All of these things to celebrate. We celebrated it yesterday on the show. We found joy in it yesterday afternoon. Today, I'm going, all right, build on it. Right? Because the Panthers are not a team that it's like, all right, you're good, move on. It's like, you got a little better, now you stack days. Right? There is a difference between celebrating, enjoying everything that we were encouraging yesterday and gloating like it's some kind of end game. Like there's something done. Right? On social media, that's where many of you are probably getting your clips for the Panthers if you can't attend training camp in person. There was a deep ball from Bryce Young to, I believe it's David Moore, down the left sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Nice throw, accurate, put where only his guy could get it. It was decent coverage at least. David Moore made a diving catch. It's a really good, I can guarantee you the member of the Panthers social media staff that caught it on camera looked at their buddies like, got one.
Oh, trust me, I've done that film stuff before, and I'm like, when you get it just right, you're like, yes.
That one's going to go viral.
Oh, yeah.
And so I watch it, right, just like every other Panthers fan. Maybe even let it reload 2 or 3 times. Like, all right, this one's fun. Then I was reading the comments, and the amount of comments from Panthers fans that had some form of, and everybody told me Bryce Young was struggling with the deep ball. Everybody told me this offense couldn't connect on big plays. Where's everybody that was hating on Bryce now? And I went, whoa, you went too far, right? Be happy. Say nice throw.
Yeah.
Say nice catch.
Mm-hmm.
Be excited. Big play. One completion in a preseason joint practice to David Moore does not mean any of the concerns are now completely washed away. Right? It's what it is, right? What one good joint practice is the opportunity to build off it. It's the opportunity to get better. That's what I want to see at a preseason game too. I don't want anyone going, joint practice was a fluke.
Right.
I don't want anybody going, I guess the Jets weren't going that hard in joint practice.
Same old Panthers.
I don't want that. You have to build off of it. That's why throughout this show, you'll hear me say multiple times, I want Bryce Young to play on Saturday. And if Bryce is playing, that means I want the first team offensive line, as long as you're healthy, out there playing with him. I want whoever is healthy from the wide receivers playing with him. Right? I don't want them practicing on Thursday in a joint practice and then not playing football for 4 days. I want them to get out there and build off of it. If Bryce Young is proving to us that he's a better deep ball thrower, go complete one to Jonathan Mingo in the preseason against the Jets. Yeah, yesterday was fun, right? I want there to be more yesterdays. I don't want to look back on camp and go, we had some good moments. Remember that joint practice? I want to be able to come in here multiple times a week and talk about, gosh, the starting offense went out there for 2 drives. It doesn't have to be perfect. 3 and out on the first drive. Bummer, right? But defender made a good play, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Second drive they came out, refocused. The deep ball to Mingo, Terrace Marshall made a catch, Jatavian Sanders, and Chuba Hubbard ran it in. Like, I want to have more to be excited about. Build off of those joint practices. Saturday could be a continuation of it. Could be one of the things, I don't know why, but me and my buddies have always said this. That's going to be the moment on the DVD. You remember, after championships, the first commercial used to be, commemorate, you know.
Oh, that's Sports Illustrated, all that stuff.
Panthers fans, commemorate your run to the NFC Championship with the commemorative yearbook and VHS. And it was always like, you know, that thing. Obviously, after VHS, it turned into a DVD. And we used to say, like, you know, week 7, a team that's like 3-4 has a big comeback victory. So now they're 500 and they're back in the mix for the division. We would say, like, that's the moment on the DVD. Like, if they go to win a championship, they're going to hype up that comeback in week 8 as, like, the turning point.
That was the launching.
That was when everything switched. I want the joint practice against the Jets to be the DVD moment where they're like, man, that Matt Rule era was tough. Oh, geez, that Frank Reich debacle. Remember that? And then Dave Canales stepped in, and I got to be honest, that first part of training camp, I don't know, left a lot to be desired. That first preseason game, nobody really looked like they had a real good grip on anything. And then there was that joint practice for against the Jets. And they stood their ground against Aaron Rodgers and Sauce Gardner and all those other Pro Bowlers and All-Pros. And from that, there was kind of the before and after of that moment. I want that to be that moment. So play your starters. In preseason, I hate to say this, you can kind of choose if you win or not. Right? There's a reason why the longest win streak in regular season history is what it is, but the longest win streak in preseason history, remember when the Ravens went like a decade without losing in the preseason?
Yeah.
It's because they chose to. You play your starters an extra quarter, you're going to win the game, right? If you have your second string in when the other team has the guys that are going to get cut in the game, you're going to win the game. If I'm the Panthers, I'm trying to build momentum, and I don't care if I have to stack the deck a little bit to do it. Well, we're going to talk a decent amount about Drake Maye today. He had a good day yesterday in the preseason. You know what else he did? Played till almost the end of the third quarter. The Patriots wisely wanted Drake to get a run against some of the backups and the backups to the backups for the Eagles. Play Bryce. Play Mingo. Play Marshall. Play whoever you think you're going to protect because it's worth it. Just to make the momentum go. Some laughs. You know what actually would be the DVD moment? I missed it. I missed the joke.
What is it?
Everything changed when Dave Canales sang Bob Marley to the team in the team room as part of his rookie singing duties.
Yeah, that happened earlier in camp. So when watching Camp Confidential, they actually showed like the slide. I was like, oh, that was actually end of July.
As soon as that, okay, then the turning point is when that went public.
Exactly.
As soon as that went public, nothing was the same for the Panthers. Everything was better. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. We have 99 questions about the college football season coming up. And the question for today is, what is the ceiling and what is the floor? We're talking win-loss record for the UNC Tar Heels. Stick around.
You heard the perfect scores on air.
Just before the buzzer, that's 5 for 5.
We're bringing those champions to the stage. It's our inaugural Numbers Game Live show, presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. Our invitation-only event brings past players together August 21st at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills. Join us on YouTube as we crown a Numbers Game champ. Special thanks to On-Site Audio Visual, supplying the sights and sounds of the Numbers Game Live.
Where'd y'all go last week?
Well, we've been watching our budget.
So no going out?
Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's salt and lime brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharkies?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharkies is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the mix, then Sharkies. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the mix, then Sharkies. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharkies. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in zone.
It restores your engine to, like, factory clean?
And protects.
Get in zone.
So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's a Friday, everybody. We're having a good time, and it is time for 99 questions about the college football season, a series of questions. We've been asking one per day since there was 99 days to go before college football. I was just reminded by my producer, Dennis Cox, and it was a good reminder because I would have completely forgot that you need.
How could you forget
your fan football flight? Because I'm not eligible to win.
That's fair.
So I'm excited for the listeners, but I'm less excited than the listeners should be. It's time for our keyword for the fan football flyaway. For the 3 o'clock hour, we do one keyword per hour throughout this entire show every single weekday. As well as the show prior to us, the Adam Gold Show. It starts at noon here on 99.9 The Fan. It's all sponsored by the fabulous Mandalay Bay Hotel, Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb & Company. Of course, the eventual winner will win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. We're talking flights, room, all of it, the whole kit and caboodle, as well as they get to see Carolina play football against the Silver and Black. This is all happening in September. So if you want your entry for this hour, you need to text in the word of the hour, which is, let me make sure I have this correct here, free. F-R-E-E. That is this hour's keyword. Text free, F-R-E-E, because if you win, that's how much it'll cost you. Free, F-R-E-E, to 919-860-5326. Just the word free to 919-860-5326. And if you're lucky enough, you'll be the winner. But to increase your chances, you want to do this every hour. This keyword will expire at 4 o'clock, and we'll have a new new keyword for the 4 to 5 o'clock hour. Same thing for the 5 to 6 o'clock hour. So you have 43 minutes to text in free to 919-860-5326 to get the this hour's entry into the Fan Football Flyaway. Thank you for reminding me of that, Dennis. Now we can jump back into 99 questions about the college football season. The question for today is, what is the ceiling and what is the floor for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels? What is their max amount of wins? And when we say max, I'm not talking about like, well, they have 12 games on their schedule, so 12. I'm talking about realistic expectations, looking at their range of outcomes. What is their ceiling and what is their floor?
Strength of schedule.
You have to look at the teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing Florida, I don't know if people have seen the Florida Gators schedule.
Oh, it's
if
brutal.
You're playing Florida's schedule, you might have 6 wins as your max. Meanwhile, if you take that same team and play NC State's schedule, might have 9 or 10. The ceiling for UNC, I think I'm kind of optimistic here. 10 wins.
Really? Okay. Now, question, are we factoring in a bowl win?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's Florida State and NC State in the final month. That's a tough little run for them, a couple of preseason ranked opponents. And then I think you mix in one other loss somewhere because it's just hard to win week in and week out, especially a team that they're talented, but I don't see juggernaut written on their talent level. So that's like 9 regular season wins in a bowl game, or 10, and then you lose the bowl because you'd obviously, if you're a 10-win team in the regular season, you're going to a pretty good bowl game. But if you look at it like, oh, by the way, I didn't say the floor yet, did I? Ceiling 10 wins. I think floor is 6. I think floor, they still make a bowl game. I think Omari and Hampton significantly raises their floor, right? The joke always is passing games slump, running games never do. That's like the old school, 3 yards in a cloud of dust logic. But if you look at their schedule, they have Charlotte, they have NC Central, they have JMU, UVA, BC, Wake, Pitt, and Duke. You'll get 6 of those, right? That's 8 games I just read that you'll likely be favored in like the betting odds. You get 6 of those, there's a floor, right? So that's why you look at UNC. Anything below that, I think, is catastrophic, right? I think that's barring some kind of serious injuries to multiple cornerstone players, which you always have to, I guess, say out loud. 6 wins, bowl eligibility, even if it comes down to the wire, that's the minimum for this team. 10 wins is everything broke your way. Right, and that means you pick the right quarterback in the preseason competition, and they don't take a month to get going, right? That means you pick the right quarterback, and they hit the ground running, and Omari and Hampton in that offensive line, which is largely new players. You'll have 4 new starters this year. They mesh from the beginning. Like, there are some things that have to go their way, but their schedule is not overly terrifying. They the Minnesota game, which is their opener in Minnesota, that's their most daunting non-conference game. And, even the most try-hard of the Big Ten stands, right, the Big Ten super fans, aren't throwing like, and we have Minnesota into their arguments, right? They've got a few other tricks up their sleeve before they get to, and don't even get me started on the Golden Gophers. So when it comes to UNC, I think that's a winnable game, and obviously you would need that game to get to 10, but they, if that quarterback room comes together, I have no problem being lofty with my expectations for UNC.
Like Charlotte, Central, Boston College, Wake, Virginia. I mean, those should all be locks right there. Yep. Then you're talking about one more win between like Pitt or Georgia Tech or JMU
or Duke.
Yeah,
like one more of those. If you get anything less than that, that's catastrophic.
Their schedule isn't very daunting. I feel comfortable in that 8-9 range. Like 8 regular season, 1 a bowl game, 9. That's what I feel for them. Minnesota's not going to be easy because everything you said about offensive line, a lot of new parts and a new quarterback. How fast does it gel together? Florida State on the road is not easy, in the rivalry game against NC State as well.
I've been calling them an everything but team. I'm confident in a lot of what they have. but the quarterback, right? Because they haven't even named their quarterback.
We just
yet.
don't know.
Connor Harrell, Max Johnson are the two main competitors for the starting quarterback job. But quarterback is like pitching staff or something like that, right? It's like if you have a great first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, great outfield, nice catcher, but your pitching staff stinks. It's like it's the great equalizer. It brings all of that back down. So I'm on the record a billion times with my praise for Omari and Hampton. I like their wide receiving core, and I think they got a lot of needed experience last year with Tez Walker not being available so often. Tight ends, they probably have the best tight end room in the ACC. Offensive line, it's rebuilt, but they brought in some talent. But all of that can be negated if the quarterback doesn't get it going. So that's, when you're talking ceilings and floors, the ceiling is they knock the quarterback decision out of the park. The floor is if it's week 8 and we're still going, maybe they should go back to the other guy. Like that is where it happens. That is where the range comes from. So when it comes to, and by the way, there is always the rivalry games, right? Yep. And you hate to be the most cliche person on the planet, but throw the records out. Nothing matters when it comes down to this one, right? It'll be a close one. It'll be a dogfight, like whatever the cliches are. State, the Duke game, some of the other ACC games they have on their schedule, they're going to be 50-50. And so much of that, again, comes down to the quarterback. Do you have the 80-yard drive with a minute 15 on the clock? Do you have the get in field goal range after taking over with 47 seconds and no timeouts? Like that's going to come down to the quarterback. So a lot's going to fall on, is it Max Johnson? Is it Connor Harrell? And then do they live up to the expectations once they're in the mix? 10-win ceiling, which, by the way,
ceiling is the roof.
There it is. There it is. When we're talking UNC, how did I not see that coming? The ceiling is the roof. That's so perfect. It's so perfect. Ceiling 10 wins, which 10 wins would be a great season for them. 6 wins, the floor, still bowl eligible. The ceiling is the roof.
The ceiling is the roof.
It's Michael Jordan, man. The GOAT. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of UNC, speaking of the quarterback position at UNC, speaking of who those two guys are trying to replace, Drake Maye had a good night yesterday. I know the Patriots actually played him in the preseason more than 7 snaps as well. Good night for Drake Maye. We break it down next.
Get ready for the ultimate football fan experience. Hey, it's Victoria Vodenecker here with 99.9 The Fan. Join us tonight at Buffalo Brothers on Lake Boone Trail in Raleigh. We'll be there from 6 to 7:45 p.m. And you can enter for your chance to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas to see Carolina take on Vegas with a 3-night stay at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino and a $400 food credit. So come hang out with us at Buffalo Brothers on Lake Boone Trail tonight. I'll see you there.
Wait, she's posting pics with a dude in Mexico. We just broke up.
If Heineken Silver was a doom-scrolling ex-boyfriend, it would have all the feels. None of the new boyfriend jealousy.
She looks happy. I'm gonna message her. Hey, Stace, loved the super cute post with @RadRyan7. Enjoy Mexico and that ceviche spot from last year. Send pics.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer. Only 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
That's a deal, yeah. I got McDonald's money. I got McDonald's money. One meal just to make me feel better. All I wanna know is, can I get her? Juicy double patty, the McNuggets so crisp, and the fries go to yellow. Yeah, McDonald's don't miss. Yeah, order apple, the drive-through quick. Yeah, $5. That's a deal, yeah. I got McDonald's money. I got McDonald's money.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go.
The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
Discover Youngsville Gun Club and Range, conveniently located just off of US 1 in Youngsville. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for YGC. Join us for YGC's college football kickoff on August 24th from 12 to 4 p.m. Enjoy special offers, a cornhole tournament, and delicious food from food trucks. This is the perfect way to kick off the college football season. As your online and local gun store, indoor range, and education center, they offer top-notch facilities with expert training. Learn more at ygunrange.com. That's ygunrange.com.
Capital Broadcasting Company and NC Beautiful award thousands of azaleas to nonprofit organizations throughout the state. If your organization would like free azaleas, visit us online at wral-gardens.com. Go to the Azalea Celebration tab and fill out an application form by August 31st. Let's keep our state looking clean and beautiful.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. It's also National Shooting Sports Month. Right now, you can text RIVER, R-I-V-E-R, to 919-860-5326 to enter for your chance to win a $50 gift card. A $50 gift card to celebrate with your friends at Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. It's a $50 gift card to Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. If you text RIVER, R-I-V-E-R, to 919-860-5326 to enter. You can learn more on deepriversportingclays.com. It's a nice way to celebrate National Shooting Sports Month.
It's a great place, by the way. It's a fun place to go. I've been there multiple times.
There you go.
Great time.
What kind of things did you did the whole pull?
I did they have a target range, or not target range, like a target course.
Yep.
So
that's what I'm thinking of.
It's 13 spots, and you get like 50 targets.
Saucers that you.
Oh yeah, this thing's just flying out. And here's the thing: the only thing you need to show up with, just make sure you wear closed-toed shoes and have protective eyewear, because everything else you need, they can have it there for you. You don't have to worry about bringing all your own stuff.
Protective eyewear, like sunglasses.
Sunglasses work,
okay.
Regular eyeglasses work, but some sort of protective eyewear.
There it is.
And that's it, because you're going to be outside. It's beautiful.
Text RIVER to 919-860-5326 to enter for your chance at that $50 gift card to Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. Now let's talk Drake Maye. This one is, I actually have to give a credit to one of my buddies, because I was doing some chores around the house, and I didn't watch the Drake Maye preseason last night live. I was doing some things, had it recorded, went back and watched. And so before I got to watch the game, Drake Maye, it was already framed in my brain. This is like Inception, right? He texted me and he said, you watching Drake Maye? I said, no, I'm going to watch it later. And he wrote back. Matter of fact, I'll bring up the text right now, because he He said, he looks comfortable. And I was like, all right, keep that in mind for when I watch. So then I was watching, and I could not get the word comfortable out of my brain. Everything he did looked comfortable. Right? I was just, and I was trying to decide if this truly was Inception, right? Like when someone says, do not think of eagles swimming in a bowl of jelly. It's like, well, yeah, thanks. Now I have to think about it because you said it, right? It's like, did you just put that thought in my brain, or do I actually think it myself? So then this morning I went back and I watched every throw of Drake Maye, and I went, no, comfortable is the right word. Shout out to the guy that texted me, but also shout out to Drake Maye, and I'll even eat a little crow. The Patriots did a good job yesterday. Up to that point, I don't think they did much this preseason in the as far as positively developing Drake Maye. But they did last night on the goal line. They gave him a read keep option. They gave him a quarterback run potential play, like at the option, right? He had to decide where he got to read the edge and then take off and run. It was a college play. Now, I know it's infiltrating, that style of play is infiltrating the NFL, but Drake Maye is a guy who ran a decent amount at UNC. He was a bit of a touchdown vulture, right? He was a guy that could get into the end zone using his legs, so they allowed him to get comfortable doing something that he already is very good at just in an NFL preseason game. Then there was the deep ball to Javon Baker, which everybody's going to talk about. It was the most wow throw. I think I saw someone on Twitter, I don't know if they did the math right, but it traveled like 60 yards in the air, 50-something yards downfield, at an angle, and it was on the money, and Javon Baker kind of dropped it. He would have been a nice catch, would have had to dive a little bit, but
he had it.
Should have been caught.
He had it.
And he dropped it.
Caught what it is, he had it.
Should have been caught. But what I liked about that was Drake Maye, again, you can go, like he was being called check down Charlie, Captain check down, right? A lot of underneath stuff, and then the big play was available, and he pounced on that opportunity, launched a beautiful deep ball. Wasn't the most difficult read in the world, right? Had two safeties at the pre-snap, and the post came to the side where the safety was coming down a little bit. It was a read that he should have seen, but he did. And he cut it loose. And he dropped the ball in to the bucket. Javon Baker dropped it, but I'm evaluating Drake Maye right now. I'm not evaluating Javon Baker. The ball was on point. Comfortable, right? He wasn't taking all of those checkdowns early on in the game, or all of those underneath throws because he was nervous and didn't want to cut it loose. He was doing it because that's what the defense was giving him. And then when the defense gave him an opportunity to make a big play, he took that opportunity. So if you look at his total stats, he played whatever it was, like a quarter and 3/4 of a quarter. He threw for less than 50 yards. That doesn't sound great. But when you include a 50-plus yard drop, it's like, no, he actually threw for 110. He threw for 115. It's just that there's a drop there. Now, in the scheme of a full game, right, if he played all 4 quarters, I'd go, all right, one drop. I mean, you still should put together something. But when you only get a handful of series, that's where a drop like that really makes things look worse than they are. Comfortable. He looked comfortable in the pocket. I actually think he looked more comfortable in the pocket than he did at UNC. Might be something he's working on as far as footwork. At UNC, there was a lot of, is that pressure? See ya. Because he could do that. A lot of slight movement in the pocket to buy just a little bit of time. And when he had to take off to run, he did. He did it a few times. I'd like to see him avoid some of the hits at the end of the runs. But, again, you live and you learn.
He didn't take too many drastic hits, which was a good thing to see.
He took the one that was a sack. We'll talk about that in a second.
But that's a little bit different. But in terms of like stuff that he can control.
Exactly. Well, yeah, you mean he's supposed to have eyes in the back of his head.
Of course, right?
But we'll get to that because that's a lesson learned as well. First, let's hear from his coach, Drake Maye, who talked about Drake Maye after the game.
One of the reasons we drafted Drake was, through the interview process, you could kind of tell this was an even-keeled guy. And I think you guys can probably see it, from the stands. This guy doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He was like that in college. He probably was like that as a kid, and he remains that way now, which is a good thing for a quarterback. Those guys have to, they have to maintain their composure and get the call to the huddle and get those guys out the huddle and be ready to go. So he's always been like that in my mind.
Learning things that we know, right? He's been in big games and he's comfortable in them. Right? To quote the great Shane Falco from The Replacements, like, winners want the ball when the game's on the line, right? And Drake Maye is not going to be someone that's in there wide-eyed and terrified because he's playing in the second half of a preseason game. Right? He's going to be somebody that wants the ball with the game on the line, so he's darn sure going to be comfortable when the game isn't on the line or when it's not even a real game. Drake Maye spoke about his confidence after the game. This is what he had to say.
I think every time you get out there, I think you kind of get more and more confident. First off, it's always going to be the nerves, going out there, running out there the first time. But other than that, I think, the more reps, I think it's only going to help me. And at the end of the day, I'm just, fortunate to be able to get out there and get some reps and try to make the most of my opportunities.
Gosh, I don't, he obviously didn't mean it that way. But the more you get out there, the more your confidence grows. I think that's him telling the coaches, I like that you played me more this week. I didn't get to grow much confidence with 7 snaps last week. This week I got to do something. And by the way, that's what should be happening. They don't have Drake Maye as the starter right now. Jacoby Brissett is the starter. Your backup is the number 3 overall pick. You should be giving him every opportunity to build his confidence, grow his game, develop. So one day you want to put him as the starter. Now, let's talk about the hit that we were referencing earlier, right? Because let's not pretend. It wasn't a perfect performance. Missed a few throws that you'd like to have him complete. And he hesitated on a throw later in the game towards the end of the third quarter, and he got lit up on the blind side by Nolan Smith, edge rusher, one of the first-round pick out of Georgia last year. That's what preseason is about, too. Learning that lesson the hard way, the real way. Right? He has, you see him, he wanted to cut something loose, and then and if you're stepping up with the intention of throwing, you're stepping up into a pocket that might be collapsing, then you need to let it go. And if you don't, you better have a plan, or you better brace for impact. You better get ready to hold on to the ball, which he did.
Yeah.
Got lit up from the blind side. And guess what? You don't learn that lesson in practice, right? Defensive back runs up, tags you on the shoulder. Or sorry, the edge rusher runs up, tags you on the shoulder because you're wearing a different color jersey. And then when you're watching film of that practice, the coach goes, got to get rid of it. That's not the same lesson learned as you didn't get rid of it and a 2-time national champion puts his face mask in your back. Learns the lesson a bit of a different way, right? So I thought yesterday was a very, very, very good day for Drake Maye.
He just looked the part.
Comfortable.
Yeah, you looked at him like, yeah, he looks like a high-end starting NFL quarterback.
With the context of the twos were out there and all of that.
Sure, but
eye test.
He looked the part.
Eye test. It's important. And do you know who sees that?
All of us.
Yeah, that's true. But also his teammates. You know, I was reading a story. This is going to tie together the last two things we talked about. Reading a story about the UNC quarterback competition and how Mac Brown has handled quarterback competitions in the past. And the last one he had was Jacoby Criswell, who's still at UNC after leaving and transferring back, and Drake Maye. This was the year after Sam Howell left for the pros, and Drake Maye took over as the starter. And something Mac Brown did was he called in 10 players on that roster that he trusted. Mac Brown, so he called team leaders and kind of, you know, hey, doesn't leave this room. No one will know what your answer to this question is. Who's your starting quarterback? Ask the players. And Mac Brown said it went 10 for 10, Drake Maye. I'm wondering if you don't do that week one of this year for the New England Patriots. You like they're watching, they're seeing every practice, they're seeing who's your starting quarterback. if anonymously, right? Because Jacoby's a great guy, and he is. And I really like Jacoby, and I'm sure they do. I'm wondering if they don't go Drake Maye's the guy I want out there, because he can simply do things that not many guys can. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We may revisit that whole starting quarterback decision for the New England Patriots a little bit later in the show. Right now, though, I want to revisit some research done by David Hale. Hat tip to David Hale of ESPN.
Major hat tip.
He covers the ACC as well as anybody. And I'm not just saying that because he's also a former Delaware Blue Hen. But also because he does great work for ESPN. And one of the things he does every year is a deep dive into the statistics and a deep dive into each position group in the Atlantic Coast Conference, which actually is more work for him this year. It used to be 14 teams. Now it's 17 teams. And he dives in and he finds reasons why he ranks like the wide receivers at this school number 3 and this team number 7. Like he goes through every position group. And, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So, Dennis, what kind of facts is he spitting at us this year about some of the position groups in the Atlantic Coast Conference?
Well, let's start with wide receivers / tight ends, all right? The pass catchers, all right?
Yep. Yeah,
so here's an interesting stat that North Carolina last year targeted its tight ends 109 times last season. Only Iowa had more tight end targets among Power 5 schools. That's it.
It's
109.
It's a telling stat, but I'm not surprised. If I had Nesbitt and Copenhagen,
yeah,
and I had Tez Walker not available for a bunch of games, I'd be targeting the tight ends as well. It's more and more and more, and credit to play callers everywhere. It's like we said, it's pass catchers, right? It used to be like, who's your number one wide receiver? They're your number one read. Now it's like, who's your best pass catcher? And who's your next best? And those guys you want to be near the top of the read, right? The first option, second option as often as possible. So if I'm UNC, I continue doing that. I want Nesbitt to have every opportunity to get open and get him the ball. So, I mean, it's telling, but it's not surprising. It's if you have the best tight ends in the league, you should throw it to the tight ends more than other teams that don't have the best tight ends in the league.
Nice little safety blanket for whomever they choose at quarterback. You know, like, oh, these guys are used to catching the ball.
And in different ways, right? Because Max Johnson, 6'5", big, strong arm. He gets a 6'5" pass-catching option. Heck, it's like playing monkey in the middle with third graders. Just keep it high, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Just keep it up top. And if you're Connor Harrell, you get him out of the pocket, you get him on some play action. That's when the tight ends can leak out. They can block for a second, get into the flat. Then you're throwing to somebody who's 6 yards away from you, right? Nice little pitch and catch. Then they can get up the sideline and do all that. There's a bunch of different ways that tight ends at UNC will benefit whoever's going to be the eventual quarterback starting for them.
All right, here's something as well regarding NC State. So this is, we talked about, I know we have in the past about Noah Rogers and Justin Jolie, wide receiver / tight end, both coming in along with other guys, Wesley Grimes. NC State last year, when it came to contested catches, contested battles, 17.9% catch rate, worst in the ACC. They also, tight ends and wide receivers for NC State last season as a whole, bad in the end zone, third worst touchdown rate in the ACC, and they didn't stretch the field last year, third worst in yards per route run as a whole. And that's factoring in how great Casey Concepcion was. Everything else around it, not so great.
And again, I think that tells a lot of the story of NC State's season last year, and it tells a lot of the story of what they did this offseason in the transfer portal. So you're saying there, what was it, 17% contested catch?
17.9.
All right, well, let's draw.
That's less than 1 per 5.
Let's draw an easy line from that to why they were bad in the red zone. Because in the red zone, everything shrinks, right? There's not as much space. So every catch in some ways is contested in the red zone. So if you're bad in the red zone, the cause of that could be you're bad at contested catches. By the way, I do think that tells like an accurate depiction of NC State. My first reaction when I hear a team is really like dead last in contested catch rate, I'm like, well, does that just mean they're open? Right?
Yeah, true.
It kind of reminds me of when people were killing Justin Fields in the draft because he never went to his second read. He was always throwing it to his first read. But then you watch film, and it's like the first read is always running wide open downfield. Do you want him to go to his second read just to prove that he can, or do you want him to throw it to the open guy, right? If you have a low contested catch rate, but you only have 10 contested catches, meanwhile you have 100 open catches, it's like, what, you want me to get covered so I can prove to you that I can moss somebody, that I can out-jump them? That's not the case with NC State. They did not have guys running open all over the field very often. If it wasn't Casey Concepcion, it was almost never. So, yeah, the story is they were bad in the red zone. Why were they bad in the red zone? Probably because they didn't have great contested catch and they didn't have a great running back run game. Okay, what happens next? They hit the transfer portal, brought in a former 5-star wide receiver, brought in the best tight end and broken tackle rate in the entire country out of UConn, brought in another wide receiver from Wake Forest, and 3 top 100 recruits at wide receiver, and 2 running backs, one from Duke and one from Oklahoma, to help with that red zone.
Well, speaking of NC State and running backs, I got some stats that David Hale pulled from regarding NC State's running backs as well. NC State running backs last year ran for 930 yards. Louisville's running backs ran for 963 yards after November 1st.
That's telling.
Yeah.
That's telling. And I believe one of your next stats you were telling me off air is going to be the
Jordan Waters.
I was going to go with the after contact total yardage from Omari and Hampton.
We'll get into that here in just a second. We'll stick with NC State. NC State running backs the last two seasons, 547 total carries, 14 touchdowns. Jordan Waters, the transfer from Duke over the last 2 years, 276 carries, 20 touchdowns.
Jordan Waters has a nose for the end zone. I give him that. There's no surprise. And the stats do a good job of illustrating it. There's no surprise that the running back running game has been a hole in the offense for NC State. And many think that's kind of what their season hinges on this year, is can their running games with the running backs. And they brought in those 2 transfers, as we mentioned, Smothers from Oklahoma and Waters from Duke. I don't even know if they have to be prolific, right? I don't even make it so Louisville isn't out rushing you starting in October, right? I'm not saying you have to outrush Louisville. I'm just saying don't get beat so badly by the good rushing teams, and that might be enough. So, and stay committed to it, right? It's going to be tempting to throw it every time because you got all these high-tier, top-class weapons on the outside. Stay committed to the running game because it helps open everything up.
All right, so I mentioned a moment ago how NC State the last season had 930 yards rushing from running backs. Omari and Hampton last year ran for 1,164 yards last season after contact.
It's absurd.
Which is just crazy. That was the most in FBS and nearly 200 yards more than any other Power 5 back. Hampton averaged more yards per carry after contact than Wake Forest DeMond Claiborne average total. And Claiborne's a pretty good running back in and of himself.
So how 1,100? Is that what you said?
1,164 yards last season after contact. So Omari and Hampton after contact last season had about 200 more yards than NC State running backs had as a whole last year.
I'm going to add to this because I had to look it up. There are only 25 running backs in the country last year that had at least 1,164 rushing yards.
Yeah.
And he had 1,164 after contact.
Yep.
Bucky Irving, a draft pick from Oregon, had 1,180 yards total, and that got him to the NFL. After contact is crazy. So actually, I was putting a lot this year for NC State or for UNC into their offensive line being able to open the holes once again for Omari and Hampton after 4 starters moved on, either through exhausting their eligibility or transfer. And maybe I don't even have to worry about that, right? Who cares if they open the hole? Because if Omari and Hampton gets hit, he's still going to find a way to pick up 1,164 yards after contact. I mean, that's crazy. Quinshon Judkins, who was at Mississippi last year and transferred to Ohio State, and many see as like a Doak Walker candidate, 1,158 total rushing yards last year. That's not after contact. That's crazy. So less pressure on the offensive line if your running back's running through arm tackles like that.
So David Hale also had this stat when it comes to Omari Hampton. Omari Hampton returns this season after posting 1,000 yards rushing and 200-plus receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. He and LaQuint Allen from Syracuse, the only two ACC running backs to do that and are returning back this season. In the playoff era, only two ACC running backs have done 1,000 rushing yards plus 200 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns total in back-to-back seasons. Sean Tucker from Syracuse, who's now playing the NFL for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the other guy by the name of Dalvin Cook. That's it.
That's it. And I wouldn't be surprised if part of what this offseason was about for Hampton was hitting the jugs machine, that pitching machine for footballs, to catch a ton more. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit more involved in the passing game, if they're not trying to find ways to get him the ball in space. Because the one thing he did last year was he touched the ball a lot. He had some games where the carries got pretty high up there. So if I'm UNC, I still want the ball in his hands, but maybe I don't want to send him through the gauntlet of between the tackles as often. So if you can get him, a couple catches, couple option routes, couple of screens a game, might take a few of those, really grinding hits off of him. So what was it, 200 rushing yards on that stat?
200 receiving yards.
That's what I meant, 200 receiving yards. Make that 450, and I think, there's another level that even Hampton can get to.
So, those are some of the more notable stats.
Shout out to the Blue Hen David Hale.
David Hale just putting a lot of different stuff out there.
I know there's software and stuff where you get all the stats, but that to me is just a lot of yellow legal pad notes scribbled on it as you try to track down all those stats.
By the way, is also according to David Hale, the only Power 5 teams that failed to get 1,000 total rushing yards from running backs last season: Stanford, Washington State, Vanderbilt, Colorado, South Carolina, Houston, NC State.
That's a list of underperforming teams from last season.
It's crazy to think all the stats that we mentioned for NC State about the lack of contested catches, how low they were in terms of yards per route run, the lack of rushing coming from running backs, and they still won 9 games.
Still caught fire there at the end.
Still won 9.
Shout out to Tony Gibson in that defense.
Yeah, and Casey Concepcion.
and Peyton Wilson and a few really good individual performances.
But just seeing the stats, though, for Omari and Hampton, that guy's
I think a
monster. And he's from local, by the way, for people that don't know, he's from Clayton.
Oh, yeah, true. A lot of those stats, I think, directly inform how those teams operated this offseason. It's you see it, right? This is what we did well. Let's build off of that. That's a foundation. This is what we did poorly. Let's fix that. Let's get guys that can come in and up those production levels. Because if you some of those state stats, if that happens again this year, you're not going to live up to your lofty expectations. And if UNC, if Omarion isn't that good, it's going to be tough on everybody else to pick up the slack. So you kind of see it informs decisions. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly now for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and I've been telling you about Bailey's Fine Jewelry. If you're a watch person, if you're a watch aficionado, if you're a watch nerd, hopefully you already know all about Bailey's Fine Jewelry. But if not, listen in. You go into Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically their Village District location in Raleigh. There's the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. You're going to find a whole array of new, pre-owned, vintage, a bunch of different brands, and a cool vibe in the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. On the opposite side, there's going to be the Omega Boutique. We're talking Speedmasters, Seamasters, Globe Masters, Constellation, DeVille's, iconic models. And then in the traditional showroom, right, in Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location, they've just recently added Blancpain as well as Glashütte Original Watch Company. These are two of the more iconic brands in the world. Again, Blancpain being the oldest surviving watchmaking brand, and Glashütte Original being a German brand with a lot of history. So these two are newer. They're classy. The movements are awesome. You want to go see them for yourself. Check it out. Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Might learn something. Obviously, they have experts that can explain to you the history of both brands. And you might just want to put one on your wrist and walk out of there, right? Obviously, once you pay. It's all happening. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location in Raleigh, make sure they know I sent you. Say, Tim sent me. They'll know what that means. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll come back with a little football at 4. Is it time for the Panthers to call Stephon Gilmore finally? Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
I know the joint practices were great. I know Bryce Young looked great. They beat the Jets, air quotes there. But we really need to see it all in a game. I understand the preseason is the preseason. It doesn't matter. But we need to see the operation look right during game action. There is no substitute for an actual game. Let's see Bryce at least against Buffalo the last week of the preseason.
The Adam Gold Show, weekday starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Make the most out of summer with great deals on a great selection of Ram light-duty and heavy-duty pickup trucks. And right now, during the Ram Make This the Summer event, get an exceptional deal on the 2024 Ram 1500, the most luxurious Ram 1500 ever. Or get a heavy-duty deal on the powerful Ram 2500 and Ram 3500, the most advanced Ram heavy-duty pickups ever. Make this the summer to remember with great deals on award-winning Ram trucks. See your local Ram dealer now during the Ram Make This the Summer event, based on standard and available features offered.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, everything for the exterior of your home. Do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite, yeah.
I want to hear
it. So windows, doors are my favorite products. The reason why is because we are the best at installing them. You know, there's 1,000 different types of windows on the market, doors on the market, different people installing them, different companies. I don't care how good a window you get. If it's not installed properly, it's not going to do you a bit of good. I always tell people, if you buy a submarine window, the best one in the world, and you have me put it on a submarine, you don't want to get in that submarine.
I don't want to get in the submarine either way.
I hear you. So anyway, so that's the thing I say. So it's really important that you have things installed properly. We've been around since 1961. We've got a 4.9 out of 5-star Google review ratings, over 800 reviews. Give us a call. We'll come out and give you a free no-obligation estimate.
It's the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online at aluminumcompany.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces his way into the end zone. Touchdown!
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione, tracking a sun-filled afternoon. Perfect to head to the pool and just enjoy, with highs in the upper 80s. Humidity levels remain relatively manageable even as we get into tonight and the weekend. We are looking at a 20% chance, though, for a few storms tomorrow with better coverage by Sunday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 96 points to 40,659. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
It is time for football at 4. But first, It's time for the 4 o'clock keyword in our fan football flyaway. Sponsored by the fabulous Mandalay Bay Hotel, Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb and Company. The way this works is once an hour, between noon and 6, every weekday here on 99.9 The Fan, we give you a keyword. There's one keyword per hour between noon and 6 every weekday. If you text it in by the end of that hour, so the word I'm about to give you, if you text it in to 919-860-5326 before 5 o'clock, you get an entry into the Fan Football Flyaway, where somebody will win a trip for 2 to Vegas. You and a friend, you and a pal, you and a significant other, you and a person that you owe, and you're like, hey, this will make us even, right? Person, your son or daughter.
Your favorite radio producer.
Options, the options are endless. A trip for 2 to Vegas, room, flight, all of it, some money for food, and you will also see Carolina play football against the Silver and Black. This is all happening in September. This hour's keyword that you have to text in by 5 o'clock is back. B-A-C-K. Back. Text back to 919-860-5326. Now, I know that they have to come up with a boatload of keywords for this, so I'm not complaining, and it's definitely not a job that I wanted to do. But telling someone to text back is kind of a who's on first situation there. Hey, text back. Makes it feel like you got to respond. So don't get confused. Text the word B-A-C-K. Text the word back to 919-860-5326 before 5 o'clock, and you'll get this hour's entry into the Fan Football Flyaway. And then listen again for the 5 o'clock hour word coming up later in the show. Now football at 4 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly. I keep seeing this. Dane Jackson got hurt.
He did.
We've seen that. We've talked about it. That stinks. It's a position that the Panthers don't have a lot of depth at. He was expected to be their starting corner. So now that that's happened, I keep seeing this brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Is it time to call Stephon Gilmore?
Ah, there it is.
Is it finally time for the Panthers to call Stephon Gilmore?
There it is.
I mean, the answer to that is yes, but it's only part of the equation here. It's time to call and beg. It's time to call and plead. And the reason being, just because you call, like, making the call doesn't mean Stephon Gilmore is going to jump at the opportunity. Right? He's not a beggar in the street that you're like, hey, you want $4 million? And he's going to go, yes, and run, skip into the facility the next day. Like, I'm so happy you're giving me this opportunity. He's not some undrafted free agent. Stephon Gilmore has made $109 million in his career earnings. He has won a Defensive Player of the Year. He has been as top level as you can possibly be at the sport of football. He needs to be convinced to go somewhere and play. Right? Trust me, if he was just on his I love football, like if he was Kevin Durant with basketball, where it's just like, I can't think of anything I want to do but play basketball, so I'm going to keep playing. Stephon Gilmore could have taken 100 jobs this offseason. He's waiting for something, right? He is. Now, maybe he's waiting for the right offer, meaning monetarily. Maybe he's waiting for the right opportunity, meaning on a contender. So he's waiting for one of the better teams in the league to perhaps have some injuries at the position and then come calling. Or maybe he's waiting because he's just still deciding if he wants to play, right? Maybe he kind of likes the feeling of getting up in the month of August and not having your joints hurt, right? Maybe he's going through that. Either way, the Panthers can call. That doesn't mean the phone is going to be answered, right? That's like getting dumped by your girlfriend and having your buddy go, is it time to call like Taylor Swift? It's like, well, is that all it takes? Like, no, she would have to answer the call and then say yes, right? She would have, like, it's the same thing. Dane Jackson got hurt. Is it time to call Stephon Gilmore? Well, yeah, it might also be time to call, I don't know, somebody more in my league. The Panthers, according to overthecap.com, which handles a lot of the salary cap and contracts and how much would it save against the cap if you cut this guy or not. According to overthecap.com, the Panthers have $6.4 million in cap space this year. I'm sure they don't want to give $6.4 million, which is all of the cap space they have left at the moment, all to one guy. But even if they wanted to, even if they called up Stephon Gilmore and he answered the phone, and they said, "Are you interested in coming back?" And he said, "I'll entertain it." Even if all of that happens and they wanted to give every bit of cap space they have to him, Gilmore hasn't made less than $6.4 million for a season of professional football since the last year of his rookie contract before his fifth-year option, which would have been his fourth year in the league back in 2015 for Buffalo.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
And some of you are going, "Oh, yeah, he played for Buffalo." It was that long ago, before the Patriots. So when you say Dane Jackson is hurt, should they call Stephon Gilmore? I get the motivation, right? The Panthers need a cornerback. They desperately need cornerback depth. They have J.C. Horn on one side, and they have 4 or 5 maybes on the other side right now.
Yeah, Deshaun Jameson, Lamar Jackson, DiCaprio Bootle.
Shao Smith-Wade, the 5th-round rookie. I don't know, right?
Troy Hill.
I don't necessarily think it is exclusively the Panthers' choice if they want to go ahead and reach out to Stephon Gilmore. Now, if they want to reach out and, hey, we want to pitch you, right? We got a PowerPoint presentation that we'd like to show you about all the things we can offer outside of being a contender and a whole bunch of money. Then sure, they can do that, but volume. And what I mean by that is call Stephon Gilmore. If he sends you straight to voicemail, have another corner you're willing to call. Because there is a need. And you have first waiver. So maybe pay attention to rosters around the league and maybe you can grab your guy that way. But it's I'm saying all this to say this. It ain't that simple. If it was, we could all be a GM. We need a corner. All right, it's time to call the best available corner on the market. Perfect. It'd be the easiest job in the world. Hey, we need a running back. All right, call the best one available, and they'll just show up because we called. It ain't that simple.
Panthers brought in another offensive lineman today. They signed one, and they actually picked one off of waivers yesterday as well.
And actually, with the waivers, it does kind of work that way. If somebody gets cut, they do just kind of get to call and say, "Hey, guess what? You're coming here to Carolina." But in free agents, it just doesn't work that way. And I can't emphasize it enough that guys work their entire career to have the autonomy over their career like Stephon Gilmore has now, right? For the first 5-6 years of the league, most guys are just trying to keep their head above water. They just want to stay employed. They want to stay on a roster. So if you call up and offer a deal, their agents are going, "Yep." Stephon Gilmore, being a multiple-time All-Pro, multiple-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Player of the Year, $100 million in career earnings, all of this, he's gotten where so many guys want to go, which is he has leverage. He has the power to say no. He has the power to say, "Yeah, I'll keep you guys in mind, maybe if I change it, but right now I'm waiting on somebody who's, got better Super Bowl odds. I'm trying to end my career in a parade, and I don't think you guys have that." Those decisions are made by teams all the time. I did see this is kind of what I'm getting at. Dennis, I don't know if you saw this. The Judon trade, right, ended up going from New England to Atlanta for a 3rd rounder.
Yep.
There's a report out there that the Bears also offered a 3rd rounder. Which means the Patriots had to sit back and look at 2 other teams' rosters and decide which team's going to be worse and then send Judon there because they want that 3rd-round pick to be the better of the 2.
Sure.
That could be what Stephon Gilmore's doing. He might have 2 or 3 offers, and he's looking at them and doing the reverse, right? I got to decide which of these rosters is better, and I'll go there because I want to contend. How many of those situations do you think the Panthers will win? If he's going, my agent says there's a nibble on a potential contract offer from this team. This team has reached out twice, and the Panthers have reached out, and they have to sit there and decide which one's more likely to win. How many of those conversations do you think the Panthers are going to win, right? Are they going to come out with all right, we got to go to Carolina? Not many.
I do know the Panthers defensive backs, especially the backups behind J.C. Horn, looked good in the joint practice yesterday against the Jets. They did. So I wonder if the Panthers are going to look and say, hey, you know what? Some of these backup DBs in the first preseason game looked pretty good. Some of the guys that we mentioned. It's like maybe if they look good again, maybe we don't have to really push for it because you know what? These are young guys that we need to develop. They need more reps too.
If their evaluations say 2 or 3 of these guys might be quality NFL, like we can contribute players on the field.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I love that. Find the diamond in the rough now.
Yeah, you and I talked a lot yesterday about Shaw Smith-Wade, about how he's had a really good camp and actually played him a bit on the outside as opposed to inside with the slot behind Troy Hill. You never know. If you found a 5th-round corner that can actually play for you out there on the field other than special teams, then awesome. Awesome job.
What was Tariq Woolen for the Seahawks? 5th rounder. That's exactly what Shaw Smith-Wade was. Mm-hmm. Granted, he's 6'4", and Smith-Wade is a little smaller.
5'10".
But like if you find a diamond in the rough in the 5th round, do not call Stephon Gilmore if that's the case. Save that little bit last remaining cap space you have for a different position of need. Which, by the way, this will be my last point on the subject. How in the heck do the Panthers with that roster only have $6.4 million worth of cap space left? Where did the money go? That's what I want to know. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Drake Maye had a good day yesterday. Second preseason game, ran for a touchdown. Could he be the starter by week 1? Was the momentum shifted that much yesterday? Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
That getting too far down the rabbit hole, and it's really easy to do with the Panthers, will get you in a lot of trouble, especially because you're always comparing it to last year. It's always about what have you done for me lately. And for this team, there hasn't been a lot of things that have been done lately. Let's just be honest about it.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Are you ready to rule the realm? With the new Game of Thrones scratch-off from the North Carolina Education Lottery, you can. This epic game gives you the chance to win up to $200,000 instantly, or a trip to beautiful Napa Valley to play the Seven Kingdoms experience, where you could take home your share of up to $7 million in cash prizes. So treat yourself like royalty. Play the Game of Thrones scratch-off today, and let your reign begin. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds are 1 in 4.31. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
The Renegades. Sticks. The Jukebox Heroes. Foreigner. With very special guest, John Waite. August 21st, Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Raleigh. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Sticks and Foreigner, the Renegades and Jukebox Heroes Tour.
Are you in charge of running the building maintenance plays at your workplace? If you're facing roofing issues, you gotta get RoofWorks into the game. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. You can count on us to be your MVP when it comes to taking care of your commercial building roof. We handle leaky roof repair, coatings, total replacements, upfits, and we even do commercial gutters. Let us show you what a valuable addition we are to your building maintenance team. Contact us today online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to have to push some of that Drake Maye conversation a little bit into the back part of the show because, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Before I say what the breaking news pertains to, I'm going to get ahead of making sure people don't get too excited about something else. We do not have new information about Seth Jarvis's contract, okay? I know we've been playing that bit up, and it's a good one. And Seth Jarvis is what everybody is hoping for. The news out of the Carolina Hurricanes front office, you want it to be a long-term extension for Seth Jarvis. That is not what happened here. With that being said, there is some breaking news from the Carolina Hurricanes. So I didn't want to have that. I didn't want to say there's breaking news from the Carolina Hurricanes.
Everyone gets all excited.
And everybody goes, Seth Jarvis. And then I go, assistant GM, which would be a letdown. But now that we've eliminated that, I feel like the assistant GM is kind of exciting news out of the Carolina Hurricanes. Dennis, give us the details.
So the Canes just announced this, that they've actually rounded out their front office or made an addition to it. That's something that Eric Tolsky, the general manager, mentioned back a few months ago, earlier in the summer, about, hey, we still need to fill one more person. That person, Tyler Dello. Tyler Dello is now one of the assistant general managers. He will be responsible for overseeing data analysis and compliance with the NHL salary cap and collective bargaining agreement. He spent the last 5 years in the New Jersey Devils front office, most recently serving as senior vice president of hockey strategy and analytics. Also did spend a couple of seasons with the Edmonton Oilers about a decade or so ago as an analytics consultant.
I am reacting to this in real time. Mm-hmm. We knew that this position was going to be filled at some point.
Sure.
When we talked with Eric Tolsky, he said there was at least one more hire in the front office that they wanted to make, and we assumed it was going to be the assistant GM because Eric Tolsky was the assistant GM. He was promoted to GM, so obviously there was that vacancy. I have to admit they went the opposite of the way I thought they would.
How so?
And what I mean by that is the way that the front office was configured previously was Don Waddell was the GM and Eric Tolsky was the assistant GM. Don Waddell I saw as the hockey connections guy, right? He was the one that could play the room at the combine. He was the one with everybody in his cell phone that everybody would pick up for if he gave you a buzz. Eric Tolsky, with his background as he holds 27 patents, and prior to getting into the hockey business world, he was a chemist, like a legit chemist. He has multiple advanced degrees in elements of study that I will never even pretend to understand. So I thought, okay, now that you take the analytics genius guy, make him the GM, replacing the hockey connections guy, I thought the assistant GM would be more in the vein of, a hockey lifer, maybe a former player, somebody that's worked, as that mover and shaker in a few different places. I have to be honest, I've done a very, very brief search of Tyler Dello. Seems very, very, very similar to Eric Tolsky.
Yeah.
when you Google Tyler Dello, the first thing that pops up, I just typed in his name to Google, is the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference has Tyler as a speaker and contributor. And then you dive in further, right? And this is all off Google. You can find it yourself. I scroll down. He's written for The Athletic in the past.
He has.
If you remember Eric Tulsky, I believe he had written for, was it Bleacher Report?
I believe so, or Sports Nation, something along those lines.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Or SB Nation, sorry.
Similar. So Eric Tulsky is a super advanced analytics guy who had been a journalist covering hockey, who had worked in a front office for, a decent amount of time. By the time because he had been doing some stuff, I believe, on the West Coast prior to coming to Carolina. The person to replace Eric Tulsky as the assistant GM is a super advanced analytics guy who had worked as covering the sport, doing some journalism, and had spent some time in another organization before coming over to the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's not what I thought they were going to do, which was kind of find the yin to Eric Tulsky's yang, and it's more, let's go all into this style of person being in our decision-making room. So, the Canes are going to tell us, and they have told us, it's not, this isn't a dive further into us being an organization run by analytics. I'm starting to have a feeling through their actions that they are going to be one of, if not the most analytics-driven team in the league.
And they have been. They have been. They've been one of the leaders in it, and
they're diving further down that rabbit hole.
Also, a change that they made, Assistant General Manager Darren York is now going to be Associate GM. He still always has been in charge of amateur scouting, player development, the team's draft. So he's still going to have those, but he's also going to be the general manager of the Chicago Wolves, the AHL affiliate. So he'll be overseeing kind of the day-to-day hockey operations for Chicago Wolves as well, which is going to have a lot of the young Canes prospects.
If you've paid attention to their drafts recently, you want to keep the person that has been in charge of the drafting. So that's a good move by them on Darren York. Last thing I'll say about this, actually, Darren York will be included in this, I assume.
Okay.
We keep hearing about the Knights of the Round Table, how the Canes make their decisions more as a group than other organizations that may have the GM who is judge and jury, right? Like I take your impact or your input, and then I make the decision. The Canes are more of a democracy, right? There's a certain number of people, and I don't know if we'll ever get the exact, who has a seat at the table, but they have a group that they make their decisions on. You at least now have two guys that are very similar in analytics at that table, right? I assume the assistant GM and the GM are going to be there. Obviously, Tom Dundon, the owner, is going to be there. Darren York might be there. I assume Rod Brindamore might be there. But it does start becoming a situation where you're like, hey, if we're settling all this by a majority vote, how many, calculator people can we have there that we can just outnumber the gut-feeling hockey guys on most decisions? So this is, I think the hiring of Tyler Dello, it's on its face, it's an assistant GM, right? You don't want to write too many sonnets about it. But for the Canes, it means a little bit more if he has a vote or a half a vote when it comes to these roundtable meetings on how to move forward with big decisions. So again, if you're just tuning in, a bit of breaking news. The Carolina Hurricanes have hired Tyler Dello as assistant GM, kind of taking the role and job of Eric Tulsky, who was promoted to GM, thus vacating his old job at assistant GM. Any first reactions from you, Dennis? Obviously, you're entrenched covering the Canes as anybody.
No, not really. I just like the fact that it's an outside perspective, spending the last 5 years in New Jersey, where they've built a really, really strong young roster there. They didn't make the playoffs last season just because they were just so injured and banged up, but they've drafted well and they've developed a really good young nucleus there in New Jersey. So you get a different outside perspective coming in, which I think is a good thing.
Do you think in the part of the interview process was Brett Pesce, man, what the heck?
Yeah, right?
Why'd you pay him so much money, which made it so we couldn't bring him back? What analytics show me the equation?
You keep taking off a right-handed defenseman, Dougie Hamilton, now Brett Pesce. You took Stephen Nason? Come on.
Did you have anything to do with that Dougie Hamilton schedule release video? Because if so, you're hired.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it yet, it's funny. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll move on from the hockey news and go back to the question I posed to you before the break, pay off on that conversation, which is last night for the New England Patriots, they had a preseason game, Thursday Night Football, against the Eagles. Drake Maye outplayed Jacoby Brissett. That in and of itself is not enough to change who's the starter. Say, hey, Jacoby Brissett didn't do well on his one drive. He threw or two drives, whatever it ended up being. A red zone interception. He cannot be the starter. But I can tell you this. I know what the fans are asking. The fans are asking, should Drake Maye be the week 1 starter? Why does everyone tell us Jacoby Brissett is the safe option when he's the one that turned it over? Well, it's a conversation that is not going to be tamped down unless Drake Maye has a real poor showing in preseason week 3. And I actually think it doesn't have anything to do with Jacoby Brissett. But before we get into that conversation, let's hear from Jerod Mayo himself. This is the head coach of the New England Patriots on the competition to be the starting quarterback with the Pats.
We have 3 more days of training camp practices, and it's our job as coaches to evaluate, and the competition isn't over. They're still going to go out there and they have to show not only their, themselves and the coaches, but also their teammates. So it's definitely still a competition.
Still a competition. That sounds like you're coming off some of the firm statements you were making before. Here's my thing. He also went on to say, if Drake Maye is better than Jacoby, then he'll play. He'll start. Again, I don't think this has anything to do with Jacoby Brissett. By the way, let's call him a spade. I like Jacoby Brissett, right? He's a state guy. Obviously, Drake Maye is a UNC guy, both local guys. I'm pulling for both to have success, right? I like to cover players who have some connection to our listening area. I'm rooting for both. But we know what Jacoby Brissett is. Jacoby Brissett has been on 5 teams in 5 years. He was in Indy in 2020. He was in Miami in 2021. He was in Cleveland in 2022. He was in Washington last year, and he's in New England this year. He's been in 5 teams in 5 years. Teams don't move on from guys who have some ridiculously high ceiling. Matter of fact, quarterbacks with ridiculously high ceilings get coaches fired, right? They are impossible to quit. You just have to continue giving them a chance because they have this potential that you're trying to grab. So the fact that 4 teams in the last 4 seasons have watched Jacoby come in, by all accounts like Jacoby, in many of the cases had him start games and moved on, says Jacoby is what Jacoby is. He's a guy you can bring in when you need a starter so you don't have to play the next guy. Right? If you believe in redshirting your highly drafted quarterbacks, right? If you're somebody that says Aaron Rodgers had to wait and look at him now, so I'm making my quarterback wait, Jacoby Brissett is good enough to start. If you think Drake Maye has some flaw in his game that you need to fix before he can go in and play, meaning if he plays, it will hurt his development, right? Sometimes you'll see a guy have like a long wind up to his throwing motion, and a coach will say, I'm not putting him in the game until he speeds that up because you're risking injury, right? Guys are going to, defensive linemen are going to get around and swipe at the ball in the back. He's going to hurt himself. So once he gets his throwing motion shortened up a little bit, we'll be more comfortable playing him. If that's the case, Jacoby Brissett is good enough to start. Other than that, Drake Maye plays. Right? Drake Maye plays when Drake Maye is ready is the better way to say that, right? If you don't think Drake Maye is ready, fine. If you think playing him will harm his development, cool. I might disagree with you, but that logic makes sense. Not playing him because you think Jacoby Brissett is better, I don't get that. And better isn't even the right word, right? It's better right now. Drake Maye is the 3rd overall pick. Unless you completely botched the 3rd overall pick, he better be better than Jacoby Brissett. If Jacoby Brissett, if you could go back and he's coming out of NC State and going into the draft, and you just threw him into the 2024 draft, he's not the 3rd overall pick. So Drake Maye plays when Drake Maye's ready because he should be better. He might not be better right now because, right, Jacoby has experience and he doesn't have the first jitters and all those things, but that's not what's going on here, right? If your entire career rested on the next game, right? If the owner had come down and said, you're going to get fired and no one will ever hire you again if you lose week 1, then the only thing that matters is who's better right now, right? That's what it is. Who's better at the moment. But if you're the head coach of an NFL franchise, you're not just worried about right now. You're worried about this year. You're worried about next year, right? You're worried about building a team. If Drake Maye is ready to play, Drake Maye plays. I don't like if someone were to ask Gerard Mayo, is Drake Maye going to be the starter week 1? I don't want his answer to include saying Jacoby Brissett, right? I want his answer to be something along like this would be the flavor of the answer. I'd want it to be, Drake's a great player. We're really excited about him. There's some things he needs to clean up before we put him in a game in the regular season, but we're excited on his development, right? That just says Drake's not ready to start. But if he says, well, when he's better than Jacoby, he'll play, I'm going, that's not how this works. You invested a lot in this guy. I haven't said this on air in a while, but this is like the true mark of football season because it's something that I say over and over and over again. Once you draft a quarterback in the top 5, every single question for at least the next year about your franchise can be answered with a question in return. And what I mean by that is once you draft a quarterback in the top 5, somebody says, are you going to sign Stephon Gilmore in free agency? Somebody says, who are you going to run the ball on 3rd down? Somebody says, who's going to be your offensive coordinator? Every question can be answered with the same question. I don't know. What's best for the young quarterback? Who are you signing in free agency? I don't know. What's best for the young quarterback? What's your offensive style going to be? I don't know. What's best for the young quarterback? Everyone has to be all hands on deck to help that quarterback get to the level where they can be a franchise starter, where they can be somebody who you win because of. I hate to do this because I know it's not super fun for the Panthers to be like, we just had a good joint practice. Why are you reminding me of last year? But to me, that's the difference between last year and this year for the Panthers. They drafted Bryce Young, and instead of making every decision around him on whatever's best for Bryce's development, they made a bunch of decisions saying Bryce is going to be so good he'll overcome this. That's not how you do it. This offseason, they've said, what's best for Bryce's development? They've said he's a shorter quarterback. He needs to be in the pocket. Boom. 2 new guards in free agency. They've said he's a younger quarterback. He needs guys that can win one-on-ones. Boom. They traded for Deontay Johnson and drafted Xavier Legette. That's the difference here. It's not like, oh, is Bryce good enough to do this? It's get the things that make him good enough to do this. Is Drake Maye going to start week 1? I don't know. What's best for the young quarterback? It's not what gives you the best chance of winning week 1, although every coach will say that in the pregame speech. Sure. It has to be about getting the most out of your 3rd overall pick. Getting a 3rd overall pick right, you got a job for 10, 15 years. Getting a 3rd overall pick wrong, I'd update my resume.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as it gets. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of the Panthers,
yes.
Let's quickly hit players to watch in preseason game 2, shall we? We still don't know. I was hoping we were going to get an update during the show. We still don't know which starters are playing, which starters are not playing. if any starters are playing for
we
the
won't
Carolina
get
Panthers.
anything technically official tomorrow until we get the game day inactive list.
They are playing this weekend against the Jets. Players to watch. So I have 2 players to watch. Dennis, I assume you have some that you like. I'm putting the cap on myself. Players that I think are going to play.
Sure.
The answer would be Bryce Young.
Well, of course.
But I don't think he's going to play. So I've gone with names that I'm pretty confident are going to play, even if the starters don't. My first one, Jonathan Mingo. This is where, right, I always say, like, big on accountability, big on, hey, if I say something wrong, correct me. I've been grouping Terrace Marshall Jr. and Jonathan Mingo together a lot, right? It just seems convenient. 2 guys that struggled last year that are having good camps this year, second-round picks, wide receivers. I've been talking about them as a pair a lot, and Dennis, Vashti Hurt from Carolina Blitz, and a few people that I've talked to off air have singled out and go, well, Mingo's different because last year was his rookie year, and you can't really blame him for the debacle that was going on around him.
Yeah, it was a complete and total disaster.
Terrace Marshall, you can be a little bit more like, hey, this is your last chance, buddy, because he's had goes in a few different offenses. He's not been effective in preseason, regular season, scrimmages, kind of like everything. So what I'm doing now is, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to make sure I look at them as individuals. And I want to watch Jonathan Mingo and see if he can continue putting last year in the past. I want to watch him and see if, all right, you had a drop last week. Not great.
Nope.
But last year was your rookie year in a bad offense. I'm flushing it for Bryce Young. I'm going to give you the same benefit here and flush it for Jonathan Mingo. It's like, do you know what this is like? I don't even know. I don't have this. But if you have twins, right, when they're little itty-bitty babies, you dress them all the same, and then there's a moment where you're like, I'm going to treat you as individuals, and you start, maybe I shouldn't have named you Harry and Larry. Like, I'm going to dress you, let you go to, one goes to soccer, one goes to basketball, one goes to music lessons, the other goes to art lessons. Like, you're going to be individuals now. I'm doing that with Jonathan Mingo and Terrace Marshall Jr. I'm evaluating them as individuals this week, and I want to see Jonathan Mingo make plays.
Okay. Well, I was thinking Mingo, but I'll go Terrace Marshall Jr. then. Because here's this, is that, again, he's on his last chance. And I think it was actually pretty telling yesterday when we heard Dave Canales was asked about the scuffle that he started. And for me, it was actually not a good look for Terrace Marshall in the fact that Dave Canales preached and emphasized going into that joint practice, can't do dumb stuff, don't get into any of these scuffles and fights. And then sure enough, a guy who is on his last chance does the thing the coach told him not to do, which doesn't look good. Yeah, you caught 2 red zone touchdown passes or whatever yesterday. Great. But you still didn't follow the discipline of what your coach is trying to tell you to do. Outside of that, yeah, you had one great practice. You had one really great practice, and I've been to multiple practices where he showed out. You got to go do it in an actual live game situation because we saw you against the Patriots last week. Have one go right off your hands. Back it up, dude. You got to back up what you did yesterday. You got to show it on the field tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm sorry, you're done. Simple as that.
All right. The gauntlet has been laid for
pretty much
for when TMJ. Quickly, I'll give you my second one.
Sure.
Deshaun Jameson.
Yeah, it's a good one.
He had an up and down day at joint practices. Interception, get your hands on the ball. You're gonna be A-okay in my book. But there was also a stretch where he had a bad PI, then got beat again. There's I don't even know if minutes are available. There's a roster spot available as a depth corner if you can be depended on.
Sure.
I want to see if Deshaun Jameson can go do it. We saw Lamar Jackson make some plays in the first preseason game.
Deshaun Jameson had 3 pass breakups in that game.
I would like to see one of them step up again and prove that it's a consistent thing and that they can be depended on.
Same thing applied for my second player, Echo Leota.
True.
He showed out and flashed
well. Is it real?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is it real? Like, I always say this is a term that I like to use a lot. Everyone is capable of having a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
Was that just a good moment Thursday last week, Echo Leota against the Patriots? Or can you do that consistently? Same thing with the joint practice yesterday as a team. Yeah, great moment yesterday. can you do it again? Everyone's capable of a great moment, but is that actually who you are?
There's a lot of people throughout the history of the NFL that have like one really good preseason game, and they post about it a lot long after their career is over.
Oh, yeah. Or have like one good season.
Yep. One-hit wonders.
That's it? Like Peyton Hillis, anybody?
This is funny little do not fire the breaking news sounder. Former Panthers quarterback.
Oh, yes.
Matt Corral has signed with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
To replace J.J. McCarthy, who they put on injured reserve, their first-round pick quarterback.
Hold on. So the Vikings now have Sam Darnold, who they traded for in 2022 to be their starting quarterback, and the third-round pick from 2022 for the Carolina Panthers, Matt Corral, as their two quarterbacks, and their quarterbacks coach is Josh McCown, who was the quarterbacks coach last season before getting fired midway through the year.
Yes.
Okay.
Matt Rule is going to be wearing a Minnesota Vikings hat to a couple Nebraska pressers. These are his boys up there.
I know, right?
That's funny. I didn't even put the Darnold Corral connection together.
How traumatizing.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Real, bold predictions coming up next.
Get ready for the ultimate football fan experience. Hey, it's Victoria Vodenecker here with 99.9 The Fan. Join us tonight at Buffalo Brothers on Lake Boone Trail in Raleigh. We'll be there from 6 to 7:45 p.m. And you can enter for your chance to win a trip for two to Las Vegas to see Carolina take on Vegas with a 3-night stay at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino and a $400 food credit. So come hang out with us at Buffalo Brothers on Lake Boone Trail tonight. I'll see you there.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing, made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories, all without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver, all the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew, 30 seconds, that's it. Done. Peace.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
You know that feeling? That confident, swaggerific feeling that says, look at me, world, I know stuff. Own that feeling with PlaySmart, a fun new go-to resource from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With PlaySmart, get to know the odds, learn tips, set limits and budgets, and make the most of your play. Awesome feeling, right? Right. Play smart, the way smart players play. Visit ncplaysmart.com. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Navy Federal Credit Union is back with more eligibility. Now you can hear all your favorites like, my brother's a veteran, I get amazing rates. My mom served, I get 24/7 member support. Grandpa was a soldier and now I'm a member. And who could forget, thanks to my father who served in the military, I'm now eligible for incredible member benefits. Call 1-855-800-2102 or visit NavyFederal.org today. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Little funky groove coming out of break on a Friday. There it is. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time to get down on some bold predictions here. One of our favorite Friday traditions. The way this works, I make what I think is a bold prediction. Now, if this were any other show in sports media, and they all do bold predictions, every podcast, TV show, radio show, they all do bold predictions. That's where it would end. I would make a prediction that I think is bold. There would be some sounder. It would go like, whoa, bold. And then we'd move on. But that's not how we do it here. We have the only checks and balances system in bold predictions, which makes them real, certified, authentic, bold predictions. I'm going to make a prediction that I think is bold, and you will either hear the bold enough bell, which means that was a bold prediction, certified, or you will hear the not bold enough buzzer, in which case I will have to make it bolder on the spot until we hear the bell. Let's jump in. Dennis, are you ready?
Let's go.
I'll go with this one first because we've talked a decent amount about it. Drake Maye starts week 1 for the Patriots. Prepared for this. Drake Maye starts week 1 and throws multiple touchdown passes. There it is. There it is. I think the Patriots are going to be behind in a lot of games, and that includes week 1. So once Drake Maye gets in there, it's going to be quite a bit of slinging the rock. And as we've seen during his time at UNC, touchdowns come when he slings the rock. So, yeah, Drake Maye, there you go. Next up, from UNC to Duke, Jordan Moore, all ACC, Duke Blue Devils.
Nah, he was all ACC last year.
He's not on any preseason lists.
And?
Jordan Moore, I'll go 10 touchdowns and all ACC. I think this is like subliminal advertising. It's like the stuff that's working into your brain that you don't realize. Duke's putting out a lot of highlights of Jordan Moore. Now, maybe that's because no one else is making a ton of highlights, but I don't want to say no one else. I've seen other highlights as well. They have somebody whose last name is like Regano who made a catch, and the only reason I remember that is because the caption was "Ruh-roh Reggie," which I thought
well done.
I thought was funny.
He had 8 last year, 8 touchdowns receiving, by the way.
Some of the highlights he's making, the one-handed catches and stuff in camp, I don't know if he went on like the Odell Beckham Jr. offseason routine, but I think he's going to be a highlight machine. And also with some of the departures from that Duke offense, he's going to be leaned upon more as like a true number 1. It's not going to be, like, hey, Jordan Waters, big play. It's like, no, Jordan Moore, we need you to make the big plays. So expect a big season from him. All right, this one, if it's not bold, Dennis, I don't know what is. And I'm going to have to explain myself. Chuba Hubbard, top 3 in the NFL in rushing touchdowns.
Seeing as how the Panthers had very little touchdowns as a whole last season.
This is a wormhole for me. I went down the wormhole of the best running backs a lot of times don't lead in rushing touchdowns, right? You think, like, over the last 2 years, who do you think would lead the league in rushing touchdowns? You're probably thinking CMC. You're probably thinking Jonathan Taylor. You're probably thinking maybe Bijan Robinson or Kyron Williams, like some of these guys that are near like the top of fantasy draft boards. Guess who actually led the NFL in rushing touchdowns each of the last 2 years?
Who's that?
Last year was Raheem Mostert, and the year before was Jamal Williams.
True. Last
year in the top 3 rushing touchdowns, and we're talking running backs here, like Jalen Hurts has a bunch, but
well, yeah, it's different.
Running backs. Last year in the top 3, Gus Edwards and David Montgomery.
Gus Edwards for the Baltimore Ravens.
He was for the Ravens. He's on the Chargers now. The
Montgomery
Gus
for the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
He's very much like anytime they got inside the 10, David Montgomery.
I think part of it is just you have to be good enough to keep that short yardage roll.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just need to get lucky enough that your team is on like the 2 a lot, right?
Consistently getting into the red zone is a big thing.
I think Chuba Hubbard has a chance.
Okay.
I think he has a chance. I think he's, even with Jonathan Brooks coming back, you're not going to want to give him those like 3rd and 1 carries or 2nd and 1 on the half-yard line carries because it's like, just give him to Chuba. Jonathan Brooks will be the big play getting space guy. And also, like, you know, a random Jamal Williams, like 17 touchdown year. Chubaba can pull that off, right? He can have a random 15 touchdown year. Gus Edwards last year with 13. Like, I was proud of that one. I'm glad that got the bell. Did a lot of Googling.
That might be your boldest.
Is it bad that my original thought was leads the league in rushing touchdowns?
Yeah.
And then I went, I don't think I have to go that far.
No, you don't.
I probably could have gone top 10, but I wanted to be bold.
If you said top 5, I'm like, all right, I'm going to give you 5.
Darn it. Man, that's like, you know, you're in like an auction, silent auction, and you bid like $1,000. They're like, oh, you won by a lot. How much did I win by?
$1,000.
It's like the next closest was $128. Man, I oversold it. I'll go with another young Panther. Jatavian Sanders.
Okay.
Top 10 tight end receiving yards. Last year, Dalton Kincaid was 10th in tight end receiving yards. I think Jatavian Sanders can have a similar season. Kincaid was a rookie last year, granted a very highly drafted rookie, but he was a rookie last year for the Bills. And what happened with him was early in the season, he was very much splitting time with Dawson Knox, and it was hard. Dawson Knox got hurt, and then Kincaid took over the second half of the year and racked up a bit more stats. I could see Jatavian Sanders having that kind of season, even without an injury, where it's just like in the second half, he kind of takes over the lion's share of the routes for tight ends and ends up in that 9, 10, 11 tight end receiving yard section, which, if you're a fantasy football player, if it's the last round of your draft and you need a tight end, I think you could do much worse than Sanders. Do we have time for one more?
We do.
I think it's the 5th consecutive week I've made this as a bold prediction.
Okay.
It's definitely at least 4th.
Mm-hmm.
The ACC will get 3 teams into the college football playoff. Trying to will it into existence. Let's start the narrative. Right? Everyone's, you don't need an ACC Paul Feinbaum. You don't need a national shill. Here's why you need someone out there fighting for the narrative of the ACC. Because the college football playoff rankings committee are human. They are people. This isn't the BCS back in the day where you just plugged things into a computer and they told you who the 2 best teams were. This is people in a room making a decision. So as much as they want to say we're not influenced, as much as they want to say we don't hear the noise, they are people.
Mm-hmm.
And they do. They hear it. Whether they actively block it out or not, they hear it. So, like, when you just say, like, oh, the ACC will get 2. Oh, the ACC should get 2. Oh, the ACC will get 2. They'll be in that committee room going, all right, did we get the ACC 2? Cool. No. Start saying 3. Start saying 4. Just put it on the table for them so it's not etched in stone.
Yeah, say 4. We'll settle for 3.
Exactly. Like, say if you're going to say the first number, say one that greatly benefits you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a negotiation rule, right?
Exactly.
If you can, don't say the first number, but now that it's out there, correct it to one that's better for you. That's real bold predictions, certified, authentic, bold predictions here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. You do have 5 more minutes with the keyword back in our fan football flyaway. BACK. Text in that keyword to 919-860-5326 within the next 5 minutes, if you haven't done so already, before 6 o'clock. And you will be entered to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas to see Carolina play football against Silver and Black and enjoy all that Sin City has to offer. Again, the keyword is back, and you need to text it in the next 4.5 minutes to 919-860-5326. And listen in to next hour for the 5 o'clock keyword in our fan football flyaway. Starting 5 is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Kevin, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Even amongst the greatest football players of all time, the reaction and the reverence that they showed for Michael Jordan is next level. LeBron could never. The GOATs, guys that got gold jackets, revering MJ, said, hey, big dog, it's been a long time. Literally fanboying out with Michael Jordan. That's why MJ is the GOAT.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You put sunscreen on when you go out in the sun. Did you know that the sun could hurt your car, too? It's true. Keep cool this summer and protect the interior from fading and cracking with a custom window tint from Soundstation and Security. The sun's harmful UV rays can also hurt your paint on the exterior. That's why Soundstation and Security offers custom ceramic coating. Think of it as a little sunscreen with Soundstation and Security. 2 locations in downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Have you heard of plantar fasciitis? Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet store. Imagine jumping off the back of a pickup truck onto some rocks. That's what it felt like when I was suffering from plantar fasciitis. After searching and trying so many other products, I finally found relief with Good Feet arch supports, and they still keep me running today. Now I get to help others who are struggling with plantar fasciitis to live their life pain-free. Here's another customer sharing their Good Feet story.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain. It just hurts all the time. It feels like your foot is squeezing on itself. When I drove past the Good Feet store, I thought, I'm just gonna stop in. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support that were personally fitted just for me. Then it was like, okay, this is something special. These make a difference.
The Good Feet store is in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Fayetteville, and other locations across North Carolina. Visit goodfeet.com to book your appointment today, or just stop by the store nearest you.
You know it's going to be a good day when your biggest concern in the morning is collecting the crumbs falling from the McDonald's crispy chicken biscuit. Your only concern should be, has your day peaked too early?
Start your morning off on a high note when you save on a warm and buttery crispy chicken biscuit for just $2.50, only at McDonald's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Lenny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WREL meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. Feels like summertime out there this afternoon with temperatures near 90. Tonight, just a few spotty showers with a low of 71. An isolated shower or storm Saturday with a high of 90. And then more widespread storms Sunday afternoon and evening with a high of 89.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 96 points today to 40,659.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now, over the past few days, I've gotten you into a rhythm. What I mean by that is right at 5 o'clock, before the starting five, I've been giving you the 5 o'clock keyword in our fan football flyaway.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not going to do that right now.
What?
At some point during the starting five, I will give you the 5 o'clock keyword in our fan football flyaway. But I'm not going to tell you when. You're going to have to earn this one a little bit more.
Okay.
It's too easy, right? We're giving away a trip to Vegas We're giving away flights, room for 2. Yeah, I mean, I just can't make it too easy.
I mean, that's a good point.
So, at some point during the starting 5, I'm just going to drop it in there. So, pay attention. Starting 5 starts now with number 5. The Panthers are obviously playing the Jets this weekend. That'll be later in the starting 5. Number 5 is non-Panthers preseason week 2 things that we're interested in watching, whether they have connections to the area or not. We'll start with this one. Dennis, your Steelers, Russell Wilson's going to play?
Yes, and I believe he's actually going to be starting as well. Get a chance to work with the first team. That's fine.
Does anything make small injuries heal faster than your backup looking solid?
Yes, but I think also as well what really healed Russell Wilson was him being in full uniform, knowing full well that he wasn't playing in the first preseason game. I don't know if everyone saw this. First preseason game for the Steelers against the Houston Texans, Russell Wilson was still in full uniform, even though he's like, hey, you're not playing because you're still dealing with a calf injury. But, hey, I'm still going to get full pads. I'm going to wear my helmet on the sideline. I'm going to get my cleats tied up, all that ready to go.
Hey, it's a dress rehearsal.
Okay. You literally don't get dressed.
I just, I've seen it happen in my playing career. I've seen it happen in the NFL. Seen it happen in a bunch of other professional sports and college sports where somebody who's pretty comfortable in their job, calf tweak, right? Shoulder soreness.
Yeah.
Then the backup has like a really good scrimmage. Suddenly the soreness is gone. Coach, I'm good. The next practice, I'm
Feeling
back.
Great.
I'm back.
Feeling great.
Other things happening this weekend. Speaking of feeling great, Daniel Jones. He's going to play.
Look at Danny Dimes. Is he going to start any scuffles?
Perhaps. But this one is like the ultimate I see both sides, right? Because he's coming back from a serious knee injury. I see like he has to play in preseason to prove to himself that he's good, so he's not worried about it when the regular season comes. But I also see literally every day you can protect him from an injury might be more likely to get that leg healed and stronger and all that. So I see both sides. I kind of like that he's playing. Like from a football guy standpoint, get out there, get some reps. Also, I don't know if those of you have seen, Danny Dimes grew himself a beard.
Hey, beards are a powerful thing.
People are pretty excited about it if you catch what I'm putting down there.
Hey, I get it.
Some are calling it a glow up.
Hey, there you go. People get steamed up for a beard.
Not Danny DeVito.
He might too.
Tommy DeVito.
Oh.
The Giants backup was mic'd up during their first preseason game. And at one point he just looked at Daniel Jones and said, man, you look sweet right now. He had a helmet or a towel over his head. He had the baseball cap on. He had the beard. He was just like, dude, you're looking good.
Looking suave there,
just
buddy.
on our sideline, couple of dudes.
It's you.
Just looking good.
Hey, man.
That's a new Daniel Jones. That's all I'm saying. A little bit of confidence. What did Dion say? Look good, feel good, play great.
Mm-hmm. Look good, feel good, play good.
And then, this is another thing I want to see, just because I can't believe it's not a bigger story. Every time somebody says the starters aren't playing, we debate it for weeks. The Chiefs are playing Patrick Mahomes. They're saying a full half.
Yeah, they're starters.
Their starters are going to play the first and second quarter, are going to play all the way to halftime. When you say the starters aren't playing, it's a week of debate. You say the starters are playing till half. That, to me, that's the other side. That's the other. Patrick Mahomes is going to be out there for 5 or 6 series, depending how long those series. It might be maybe more. I want to see if they actually go through with it. That's crazy. Travis Kelce is an old tight end. He's going to be out there for a whole half. That's wild. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
We are the 4 horsemen.
Should I give the fan football flyaway keyword? I don't think so.
Not yet?
We're going to make them wait.
Okay.
Number 4 is the NBA released their schedules.
Yes.
Appointment television.
The Charlotte Hornets.
Appointment viewing. The Charlotte Hornets. Which, by the way, I actually think there is some positivity around the Charlotte Hornets going into next year. Brandon Miller looks like the right pick that they made at number 2. Obviously, Wembanyama was the crown jewel of that draft class. But sometimes you have to like do this thought exercise. Wembanyama looks like he's going to be an all-time great, right? As much as you can after one season. If Brandon Miller was in a normal draft class that didn't have a 7'4" French alien, I think he would not be an undeserving like rookie of the year if it were a normal rookie class. Then you throw in LaMelo Ball getting healthier, a few other things going on with the Hornets. You may actually want to catch a couple games. Dennis, what is the schedule highlight?
If only we could actually watch Hornets games here in Raleigh. Do
you think at any point in time though they might get a nationally televised game?
Maybe one.
One day?
Maybe one day. A couple actually games or dates of note. Actually, the Hornets host the Celtics, reigning champs, on both Friday, November 1st and Saturday, November 2nd. Back-to-back nights.
Both home games?
Both home games. Host them
Wow.
back-to-back, which is a rare thing to see.
That feels like a pickup. Run it back, same time tomorrow.
Pretty much what it is. So that's probably like the big early part of the season schedule. Also, January 27th, the Lakers are in town
People
as well in
always wanna know
January. People always want to watch the big-time teams coming in.
When
Golden
LeBron
State,
comes to town.
March 3rd, Golden State Warriors are in town to take on the Charlotte Hornets. So that's Steph Curry coming home to Charlotte. So those are the couple of the games to highlight.
That is wild. Back-to-back nights against the Celtics at home.
Which is kind of neat. Speaking of Victor Wembanyama, this is the Christmas Day slate that the NBA always likes to
They try to own
be
Christmas.
big on Christmas,
Well,
and
they
then the
have to
NFL is like, ha.
They have to be bigger this year. They've always had like a captive audience in Christmas. Like if you were hanging out with your family and you threw something on TV, it was going to be NBA. But you're right. The NFL is now on Christmas. They're coming for it. So they have to throw their fastball. What are they giving us on Christmas?
So you got the San Antonio Spurs at the New York Knicks.
Okay.
Wembanyama
in New York City.
In New York City. The Timberwolves at the Mavericks. So you get Anthony Edwards. You also get Luka Doncic in that
All right,
matchup.
that's bad.
Next
Throwing
one,
cheddar.
Sixers at Celtics.
Another one. You're going to have Tatum. You're going to have Brown. You're going to have Embiid. You're going to have Paul George. You're going to have Maxey. They're throwing high heat.
Also going to have what's our guy's name from Duke?
What's our guy's name from Duke?
For the 76ers? Just drafted, first round?
McCain.
Yeah,
Jared
McCain.
Whew.
I know, I threw that one at you.
Well, I mean, I know that, but for some reason I was thinking of last year's team. I was going, who?
Also that night we have Lakers at Warriors because Lakers at Warriors. And then Nuggets at Suns.
J.J. Redick on the Lakers at Warriors.
Yeah, I know. J.J. Redick. Also have Denver Nuggets with Nikola Jokic. Also Devin Booker, fellow gold medalist for Team USA. Along with the guys like Steph and all that.
Oh, the Booker's on the Suns.
Yes, for the Suns, yeah.
So it's Suns and who?
They're playing the Nuggets. So I'm saying like another one of the USA team members.
Gotcha. And then the Lakers are playing the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, it's NBA is going to try to protect their turf, but I'm if I were the NBA, I'd be worried that everybody's going to be watching football that day.
Yeah. But anyway, the Christmas Day slate starts at noon, and the final tip-off between the Nuggets and the Suns is at 10:30. So it's just literally all-day basketball if that's your thing.
There it is.
You got to compete with Chiefs and Steelers. Have fun, NBA.
Yeah. We just named like 100 stars that are going to play for the NBA. Then you go, and then Patrick Mahomes. Oh, never mind. You lose.
Chiefs, Steelers.
You
all
lose.
I need to know.
That's funny. That was number 4. Let's get to number 3.
1, 2, 3.
Golf nerds, stand up. Should I stand up? I'm a golf nerd.
I did do it. I'll zoom the camera out.
There you go. The FedEx Cup playoffs underway yesterday, continuing today. FedEx St. Jude Championship. Denny McCarthy, Hideki Matsuyama tied for first. Hideki obviously is a great. He's already got a master's. He's an absolute legendary, famous person in Japan. Do you know what's funny about Hideki Matsuyama being tied for first? There's a situation that's been reported upon where he was traveling to Memphis for this particular event, and along the way, he and his team were robbed. It was like wallets, maybe a bag, a shirt, and passports. He from 3 of them, right? His coach, his caddy, and him. And because of that, because he's they had the work whatever decision, the quick, or maybe they didn't get his passport, was able to make it to Memphis, but his coach and his caddy had to go back to Japan because, right, lost passports and stuff. I don't know how all that customs works. If I'm his caddy and his coach, I'm kind of like, uh-oh. You mean I had to go back to Japan? He went to the event, and now he's tied for first in one of the best fields of the entire year. Hope he doesn't realize he doesn't need me. But he's tied for first going into the weekend. Denny McCarthy is a many people think he's the best putter on tour, but he's kind of waiting for that breakthrough win to vault him up a level, so could be this weekend. Shot a 63 today, which is pretty darn good.
Isn't it stupid hot out there in Memphis?
I was first before we get there.
Oh, okay.
Scotty Scheffler is in fourth.
Oh, okay.
And anytime Scheffler is like not in dead last, you're assuming he's gonna win the tournament. So there it is. But yes, the other story of the FedEx St. Jude Championship is that right now, is Memphis in our time zone?
No, it's in Central Time.
So that's what, an hour behind?
Yes.
It is 4:11 in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
It is 98 degrees.
Gross.
Gross. That's
gross.
A little hot. And on top of that, the humidity is apparently ridiculous. And the feels like temperature is bananas. So right now, I just brought up the weather report. It is 96, but it feels like 109 degrees. The humidity is 50%. And I just want to remind all of you that for some strange reason, the PGA Tour requires their golfers to wear long pants. It feels like 109 degrees outside with 50% humidity. Cut them into shorts.
So dumb.
We'll give you the scissors. Go jorts with it and just cut them above the knee. Get some airflow in there.
So dumb.
109. It is. In Memphis. I mean.
Nope.
I'm sure I'm like Memphis. Obviously it is extremely hot. But that's not even one of like the places I go to with like. Sure wouldn't want to be in blank right now when it's like a hot day. I don't think of Memphis. It's not like sure wouldn't want to be in Arizona or Vegas, Texas, right? Memphis apparently just gets 1 billion degrees.
Speaking of Vegas.
Oh, haha, I didn't even do that. You're right. Perfect time. It's time for our 5 o'clock keyword in our fan football flyaway where we are trying to send you to Vegas. Gosh, it would have been better if I planned that. Sponsored by the fabulous Mandalay Bay Hotel, Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb & Company. This hour's keyword is SACK. S-A-C-K. SACK is the keyword. Text SACK to 919-860-5326 and enter for your chance to win a trip for two to Vegas. And you can see Carolina play football against the Silver and Black. You'll have some money for food. You'll have the flights. You'll have the room. You'll get to enjoy Sin City for all that it provides if you're the winner. To maximize your chances of winning, by the way, every hour from noon to 6, weekdays here on 99.9 The Fan, we're giving you a different keyword. It expires at the end of the hour. So the keyword for this hour, SACK, S-A-C-K, expires at 6. And you won't have another chance to get another entry into the Fan Football Flyaway until Monday at noon. You don't want to wait that long, so make sure you text in SACK to 919-860-5326, and you will have this hour's entry. This hour's word is SACK, and the number to text in is 919-860-5326. And then listen for the next keyword coming up on Monday's noon hour here on 99.9 The Fan. That'll be during the Adam Gold Show. Gosh, that segue was set up. That was number 3. Let's jump to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Drake Maye played some real significant snaps last night for the New England Patriots in their second preseason game. And get this. The good player that they drafted number 3 overall looked like a good player that was worth being drafted number 3 overall.
Yep.
Who woulda thunk it?
Imagine that.
And do you know what I like about what the Patriots did? And I criticize the Patriots a lot for how they've been treating Drake Maye since drafting him. From drafting Joe Milton to not playing him just 7 snaps in the first preseason game, to how they handled some of the training camp stuff. Haven't loved it. What I do like about what they did yesterday is they compromised. Week 1 preseason, they played Drake Maye 1 series. Reason being, we didn't want to play him with the second team offensive line. I mean, my response to that is, okay, you're the coach or you're the team. Play the first team offensive line more. Or you're the coach, you're the team. Don't play Jacoby Brissett the first series and instead play Drake Maye with the first team. Either way, this game, there were points in time where they put most of the second team offensive line in, but they left in the starting left guard and left tackle. That's a compromise, right? That way, if Drake's going to get hit, for the most part, if like the second unit gives up some pressure, it'll be coming from his front side. He'll see it. He can protect himself. More than likely, the blind side stuff that he won't see, that he won't be able to protect himself, will be more likely to be held off by the starting left guard and left tackle. Now, it didn't always play out that way. The left tackle did get beat late in the game, or late in Drake Maye's time on the field. And Drake Maye got lit up from the backside. But at least it was the first team that got beat, right? And by the way, the running back helped with that. He tried to chip, got a little anxious, and kind of knocked the defender off of the offensive player. But overall, Drake Maye looked the part, right? And sometimes just that soothes the nerves, right? Just that can soothe the coaching staff from, oh, we need to protect him, or, oh, he's not ready. It's like, no, let him get out there. Let us see him play some football, do a good job. If the pocket collapses, escape for a little bit of a running gain, or step up and move in the pocket and throw a nice pass. It's like you do that, and it just lets the team kind of take you out of bubble wrap, right? It's I don't know about you, but I'm trying to think of a good example. I never really got into like action figures, but I remember a kid in my neighborhood did. He was big into the Star Wars action figures.
Oh, okay. I definitely had a lot of Ninja Turtle action figures.
And he was like really into protecting them, right? We couldn't play with them, right? Because they were in the box, they were sealed. But then as soon as the seal broke, it was like, you can take them out in a puddle outside. You can run over them with the car. It was like once just they got opened, then they were toys to be played with. I think that almost happened with Drake Maye. He was like a rookie to be kept in the corner, untouched and safe. And then they finally got him out there. They finally let him play. And then by the end of the night, they were like, "Now give him a 7-step drop against a blitz look with a 5-man protection, and see if he stands up after they plant him into the turf." It's like, oh, we went hard the other way, didn't we? Louis Riddick of ESPN had some comments on Drake Maye after that game. Here they are.
Is it allows Gerard Mayo, the head coach, and Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, to go, hey, look, this guy is getting more and more comfortable. This is someone who did look poised, as you mentioned, and did look comfortable, did look like he was in command. You saw the athleticism in the pocket to be able to adjust the pressure, buy time in the pocket, deliver the football accurately on some of the screen plays when Philadelphia was getting after him on the blitz. He showed the fact that he can rip the ball over the middle on time, in rhythm, with good placement. He just missed on a go ball down the middle of the field that Javon Baker, their 4th-round pick out of Central Florida. They just need to get a supporting cast around him that can support him in a very meaningful, competent way. But they found their quarterback of the future.
One correction for Lewis. I like everything he said there. One correction. He didn't just miss on the go ball. Javon Baker dropped it, and it was a post. Unless he's talking about the one on the left sideline, in which case the defensive back kind of ran him out of bounds. But either way, the throws, both of them, the throws were not misses. The throws were on target. They weren't complete, but they weren't misses. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go on!
Panthers preseason game 2 tomorrow against the Jets. There's there's a billion things you want to see. You want to see Jonathan Mingo make plays. You want to see the offensive line open up holes in the running game. You want to see touchdowns. You want to see Deshaun Jameson and Lamar Jackson and some of your depth corners make plays. You want to see young edge rushers get to the quarterback and prove that they deserve a spot near the top of that depth chart. You want to see everybody stay healthy. Like, there's a million tangible little itsy-bitsy details you want to see. Big picture stuff, I want to see you build on yesterday's joint practice. I want to see you not fight against momentum. I want to see you build momentum. Tell me that hasn't been the most frustrating thing of the last year with the Panthers. Every time they made a play, every time they had something go well, it came to a screeching halt, right? You would have a good day by Bryce Young. The next week, it almost always was like, bad interception, right? You'd have a player make a big highlight play. It was almost always like then they were called for a penalty, right? The ball never got rolling downhill. So this training camp has been a bit of a grind for the Panthers. And by the way, training camp is a grind. I'm not here to say that it shouldn't be or that it's some big, panic button move, that it was a grind. But the first couple of weeks they were a grind, right? Then this joint practice yesterday happened, and it was the first time smiles were shared amongst Panther fans everywhere, right? It's the first time. It's like when the Grinch starts hearing the Who singing in Whoville, and his heart grew 3 sizes that day. Like it happened after the joint practices. So I'm now looking at this and going, all right, really liked it, really enjoyed it, had my smiles. Let's make sure it don't have the screeching halt thing happen again, right? Let's make sure that the guys that practiced well play well in the preseason, right? Play well in the game. Translate it. A great practice, what's the point of practice? To get ready to play well in the game.
Get better.
Right? The point of practice is to get ready to play well, to be prepared to play in the games. The games are the part that you get judged on in sports. So if you're a great practice player and it never translates to when the lights turn on, that's a confusing place to be, right? That's not where you want to be. The practice is about getting you ready for the games. I want to see it translate. Bryce Young threw 3 touchdowns, right? Completed on some deep balls. Great. I want to see downfield completions in the game tomorrow. And I want to see Bryce Young in the game. I doubt we will, but I want to. I wish we could see Bryce Young in the game. Not forever. He doesn't have to play a full half, although Patrick Mahomes is for the Chiefs, as I said earlier. I want to see yesterday's joint practice be a turning point. Rather, as Dennis says, anyone can have a good moment. I'll even phrase it a little bit differently because I got to make everything, more complicated in my own. Anyone can have a good moment. Are you a good player? Right? Like that kind of deal. You can make a good play. Are you a good player? The good players show up every single time. That's what the Panthers need to get to. Build towards consistency. And win. I know the preseason doesn't matter, but I want to see them be ahead on the scoreboard.
Feels good, though.
I want to see them be ahead on the scoreboard. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We need some numbers game contestants.
Yeah, we do.
And we have a sweet prize. We have a $25 gift card to Sharky's Place going to the winner. Sharky's with back-to-back wins for best wings in the Triangle. Voted best sports bar, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world, Sharky's. We need 2 contestants. To win, you need to play. To play, you need to call in right now. 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. 2 contestants, numbers game. Next.
Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb and Company want you to see football live in Las Vegas. It's our Fan Football Flyaway. Listen weekdays through August 29th. We'll reveal keywords every hour from noon to 6. Text in the keywords to enter for chances to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. We'll fly you to an amazing room at the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino, and we'll hook you up with seats for the Carolina Las Vegas game. The Fan Football Flyaway, only on 99.9 The Fan.
Viva Las Vegas.
Did your mobile provider just increase their prices again? Switch to Spectrum Mobile, the nation's fastest growing mobile provider. With Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Switching to Spectrum Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your phone balance up to $2,500. Stop dealing with price hikes from your cell phone company. Get Spectrum Mobile. Visit spectrum.com/itpays-to-switch for full details. Offer subject to change. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Hey there. Gerber Life would like to talk to you about the importance of guaranteed life insurance for when you...
No, thank you.
I get it. Nobody likes to think about life insurance because it means having to think about the end of... So, I'll make this short and sweet. If you're 50 plus or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. Guaranteed acceptance means you don't need a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just call 888-532-5016. Then, when that thing you don't want to think about does eventually happen, and you know it will,
I'm not listening.
your family can use the insurance money to help cover the cost of your final expenses, or anything else. Now that's worth thinking about. Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance. For a free quote, call 888-532-5016 today.
Where'd y'all go last week? Well, we've been watching our budget. So no going out? Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's salt and lime brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharky's?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharky's is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the Mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
It's August, and that means back to school is happening. Football season's getting here. You don't want to be cleaning when all that's going on. You want to be doing the fun stuff. Let Zero Res take the cleaning off your hands. It's a perfect time of year to get your air ducts cleaned this month with 25% off your air duct cleaning. And on top of that, you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $115. It's all happening at ZeroResRaleigh.com, or you can call 919-995-0000. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Time to play the numbers game. We have Steve in Youngsville, Jason in Wake Forest on the line. One of them is going to not only win the numbers game, but win a $25 gift card to Sharky's Place. So, let's start with Steve in Youngsville. Steve, are you there? Steve?
Yes, sir.
There you are. As always, we have to start with a question. We pick our favorite answer out of the 2 answers to see who goes first. The question on Fridays, what are you looking forward to most about the upcoming weekend? But it has to be sports related. What do you got for us?
Without a doubt, I'm a Little League World Series baseball fan.
All right. I like it. Dude, I have not been following. I have to admit there's been some other things to watch. What team's the legit one? Have you been watching? Do you know who's good?
I've just watched a little bit, but no,
Okay.
I can't really pinpoint right now.
Gonna get into it
who
this
it's going to
weekend.
be, but it's just the enthusiasm those kids have. Everybody has a good time. The sportsmanship is money. It's all good at that age, and it gets ruined later on.
Works for me. When I was growing up, I grew up in Hawaii, one of the teams on the other side of the island won the Little League World Series. They were the champions. And then a couple of those guys transferred into our school the next year. Is there anything cooler when you're like 12, 13 than walking into a new school? Like, yeah, I won the Little League World Series last year. It was, they were kings of campus. So there you go. Steve in Youngsville, stay on the line. We'll see if that answer gets chosen. Jason in Wake Forest, it's your turn to answer the question. What is the thing you're looking forward to most about this weekend, but keep it sports related?
Well, I'm a big soccer fan. I have kids that play soccer here locally, so looking forward to the Premier League starting up, which today's games were already running, so tomorrow's a new day. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
All right, appreciate it. Dennis, are we going Little League or are we going Premier League?
I think the Little League World Series is overrated, but that's a different conversation for another time. But at least it's domestic Premier League, not here in the States. So I got to go Little League World Series.
We're going to have to revisit that little conversation. So Jason in Wake Forest, you get to go first. The categories you get to choose from are Fork Union Military NFL guys. These are all players that played at Fork Union Military Academy. NFL, need to P, all players whose last name starts with the letter P. NBA current players only, and NHL Canes and Whalers only. Steve, are you there?
Yeah, is that me?
Yep.
Let's do the military academy.
All right.
NFL.
Fork Union Military Academy guys. I'll give you the team and the players name. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Vinny Testaverde, New York Jets.
14?
Incorrect. Michael Thomas, New Orleans Saints.
13.
Correct. Plaxico Burress, Pittsburgh Steelers.
17.
Incorrect. Vinny Testaverde, New York Jets.
16.
Correct. Eddie George, Tennessee Titans.
27.
Correct. Don Majahowski, Green Bay Packers.
Magic man. 9.
Incorrect. We have
7.
Plaxico Burress, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
See, you should have just thrown out a number for Plaxico, because then I would have gone back to Majahowski, and because you had 7 right, but you had already guessed incorrectly there. So,
yeah, I think 9 was. I think that was McMahon at the Bears during that time.
I believe so. Off the top of my head, I believe so. You did get 3, however. You got Testaverde, Thomas, and George. Plaxico Burress with the Steelers were number 80. 17 was with the Giants, which is kind of a famous story. But you got 3. Solid number on a Friday, so go ahead and sit tight, and we'll see if it holds up. That brings us to Jason in Wake Forest. Jason, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL, need to P, all players whose last name starts with the letter P, NBA, current players only, or NHL, Canes and Whalers only.
Let's go NFL players need to pee.
All right. The way this works, I'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. You have 1 pass if you need it. You need 4 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No, I'm good.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers.
13.
Correct. Michael Pittman Jr., Indianapolis Colts.
16.
Incorrect. Joey Porter, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pass.
Tony Pollard, Dallas Cowboys.
83.
Incorrect. Michael Pittman Jr., Indianapolis Colts.
81.
Incorrect. Joey Porter, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pass on that one.
You can only pass 1 time, but I like the effort for trying. You're right. All we can say is no. Michael Pittman Jr. with the Colts wears number 11. Joey Porter, and this is Joey Porter, not Joey Porter Jr., wore number double nickels, 55 with the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Pollard, the running back with the Cowboys, now with the Titans, wore number 20 with the Dallas Cowboys. And for those of you playing at home, the caller did get Brock Purdy correct with 13. We would have accepted 14 as well. I guess he's worn both at different points. So One, not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun.
Yeah, a great time. Love the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening. And that brings us to Steve in Youngsville. Steve, congratulations. You are the winner.
Thank you. I'm going to Sharkies.
There you go. You're going to Sharkies, and you're going to have a $25 gift card because you won the numbers game when you do. So enjoy it, have fun, and sit on the line so Dennis can get a little bit of your info to make sure you get that Sharkies gift card.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. By the way, no perfect scores today, but you know we've had perfect scores. You've been listening. Numbers game every day, this time over a year. We're bringing all the perfect scores together, and we're going to name one champion. We had a meeting today to go over all the ins and outs of how we're going to make our Numbers Game live show work. It's presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. It's an invitation-only event that brings together all of the 5 for 5s, all of the perfect scores. You may say all of the champions together. August 21st, that is this upcoming Wednesday at the Hilton Raleigh in North Hills. Join us on YouTube. You can participate, you can watch, you can play along on YouTube as we do it live and crown a Numbers Game champ. Special thanks to Onsite Audio Visual, supplying the sights and sounds of the Numbers Game live. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to meet and hang out with some of our best Numbers Game contestants of the last year, and the competitor in me is excited to name a true champ, right? You get the best of the best in one location, and we're not leaving until one rises above the rest. The night will be full of surprises and prizes. August 21st, the Numbers Game live, Hilton Raleigh, North Hills, and please join us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. It'll be live that evening, and should be a really, really fun time. Also, speaking of YouTube,
we're going to stream that on YouTube, so definitely make sure you tune in.
Speaking of YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yes, please do.
Go to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, not just for cool events like the Numbers Game Live, which are streamed live there. By the way, every one of our shows that we do here streamed live on our YouTube page. But there's also kind of not YouTube exclusive, because a lot of them are on other podcasting software as well. But our podcasts are found on YouTube. Pack Therapy, myself, Mike Glennon, talking NC State football. Panthers Playbook, Dennis, who, there you go, right there.
Let's say we'll have another episode right after the preseason game tomorrow night. Chris and I will have another one out there for you.
That's Chris that he referenced is Chris Lee, WRAL. Who is in attendance for just about every at least home event for the Panthers. So there's a ton of stuff. There's Kane's Corner, the Adam Gold with his soccer, Adam Gold with Kane's hockey. There's Victoria Vodenecker with her combat sports. There's a ton of content constantly being cranked into our YouTube page, and we do that for you. So please enjoy it. Comment, subscribe, share, all of it.
By the way, we do read all the comments. We literally read them all. See the back and forth. And that's actually the thing that we appreciate most, is that for you all as listeners, it's your opportunity to interact with us and at least share your thoughts with us, because we do see it. And there's sometimes conversations that we bring up. We see a lot of fans, voicing their opinion on something in a certain way. And it's like, okay, well, let's explore that. So it definitely is valuable to us for sure.
We're trying to build a community, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, from 3 to 6, we want the community to be here listening to the show. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of other hours. There's a lot of other games going on that YouTube is somewhere where we can all get together and root for the local teams that we want to root for, and talk about them and debate them and do all the fun stuff that the internet is actually good for. Internet's not good for everything, but that's pretty good. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll take a break, but when we come back, we got to make our picks heading into the weekend. Picks are coming up.
You heard the perfect scores on air.
Just before the buzzer, that's 5 for 5.
We're bringing those champions to the stage. It's our inaugural Numbers Game live show, presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. Our invitation-only event brings past players together August 21st at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills. Join us on YouTube as we crown a Numbers Game champ. Special thanks to On-Site Audio Visual, supplying the sights and sounds of the Numbers Game live.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And you know, we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in zone.
It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
Get in zone.
So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for $37.99.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Batter up. Theater Raleigh presents Bull Durham, a new musical playing Duke University's Reynolds Industries Theater in Durham, September 10th through the 22nd. Based on the classic movie, the film's original screenwriter Ron Shelton has adapted the story for the musical, so you can follow Crash Davis's Durham Bulls story and his romantic love triangle in a new genre. The perfect blend of comedy, drama, and steamy romance. Get your tickets for Bull Durham, a new musical today. Details and ticket info at theaterraleigh.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Few little reminders for you here as we move towards the weekend. It is National Shooting Sports Month. Thus, Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School is helping us celebrate by potentially hooking you up with a $50 gift card to Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. All you have to do to get in the running is text RIVER, R-I-V-E-R, to 919-860-5326 to enter for your chance at that $50 gift card to Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. And if you have any questions, more information you want, you can learn more on deepriversportingclays.com. Dennis, I know you are a advocate of Deep River Sporting Clays as a nice little activity, bonding experience maybe.
It's fun. If you've never been there, by the way, they'll actually have a member of their staff go on the target course with you. If you've never been down there before, or anyone in your party that hasn't been there, great group of people down there. Fun place, fun time. Definitely text River, folks. 919-860-5326.
Speaking of winning stuff, don't forget to text in this hour's fan football flyaway keyword, which is SAC. SACK. Text it in to 919-860-5326 within the next 15 minutes. At 6 o'clock, that keyword expires, and we don't give out another keyword for another chance at a entry into the Fan Football Flyaway, which is a trip for 2 to Vegas, until Monday in the noon hour. So last chance before the weekend, text in SACK, S-A-C-K, to 919-860-5326. Last bit of kind of update here. All I want is someone to tell me what I have to subscribe to watch sports, and it feels like that answer is changing every day. What's going on with Venue? Now, we've talked about Venue. Venue, VENU, was supposed to be a combination of what was it, Fox. There was a Warner Brothers element there.
Yeah, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Fox, and ESPN.
We're all going to get together, and you could pay one price and get all those streaming services.
For sports-related stuff.
But now that's not the case?
So, Fubo TV filed a lawsuit or motion for a preliminary injunction, and a judge granted it in Southern District of New York in a ruling. And basically, Fubo with TV was saying consumers would, quote, face irreparable harm in the absence of an injunction. So the judge ruled in their favor, saying, nope, this Venue Sports things right now can't be an option.
So basically, they're like the Department of Commerce or something like that getting involved with no monopolies. Is that what they're saying?
Well, I see it violates antitrust laws.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
All right. Well, somebody tell me what I'm going to need to subscribe to watch games, because the NFL season starts up pretty soon, and then I just need games for the next 11 months.
Things just kind of got weird.
All right. Well, you know what doesn't get weird?
What's that?
Our picks. Let's make some.
Let's go.
What games are we looking at? Or games or events or anything else?
Well, I know you're a big golf fan.
Yes, I am.
FedEx Cup playoffs underway. St. Jude Classic. Who's winning it?
I have to be boring.
Okay.
I have to. This is not a bold prediction, but it's not the bold prediction part of the show.
This is not. This is just making a pick.
Scotty Scheffler.
Okay, fair.
He's in the top 5 going into the weekend. I mean, it's, you know me, I'll never say it's Tiger-like, but there is a Scotty level of, if you're leading a tournament and he's in striking distance, you know where he is because he's coming. Scotty Scheffler, he'll win. I mean, he just won the gold medal, and he wasn't even in contention going into Sunday. And he just stormed back into contention and then won the whole darn thing. So, yeah, I think he'll win.
Well, let's go right to the weekend as well. A lot of football action taking place. We got Panthers versus Jets. Preseason football, Tim. Who's winning?
Whoever wants to win. How about that?
Oh, no. I need one team.
I will give you a answer to that, but I want to explain why I don't like this. I don't like in college football, sometimes Alabama will play like Southeastern, Western, Central Arkansas, and the spread will be like 44.5 points.
Sure.
I don't like betting on that because that, like, Nick Saban used to get to choose whether they covered that or not, right? He either called the dogs off when they were up 35 or he kept them pressing until they were up 50. And that's just a choice. And I don't like betting on choices, right? I like looking at two teams and deciding who's better and then letting them play, and right, you feel like you have some control over that. Who's going to win I don't like betting winners in preseason games because a coach could choose, right? If Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, leaves his starters in longer than and the Panthers choose not to play their starters, the Jets will probably win. And that's not the Jets are better. They might be better, but that's not why they're winning. So I'm pretty confident Dave Canales isn't going to play any of the starters. Thus, I'll pick the Jets.
Well, speaking of, by the way, Jets are 1.5 point favorites. So, they got that going for them. But
how do you even set that?
Great question. By the way, so Darren Gant of Panthers.com covers the team for the Panthers website, said if starting offensive linemen don't play tomorrow, and you factor in that Chandler Zavala, Cade Mays, Josh Nijman, Traore, another one of their offensive linemen, those guys are all hurt. So if the starting offensive line and those names I just mentioned do not play, the healthy offensive lineman for the Panthers for tomorrow would be Brady Christensen, Ricky Lee, who's from North Carolina A&T, Andrew Rame, Jeremiah Crawford, and the other guys by the name of Jack Anderson, Mason Brooks, Tyler Smith, and Ike Botker. Those last 4 names have all arrived since Sunday, so they haven't even been with the team for a full week. So they're again, taking away the starters. For example, Mason Brooks was claimed off of waivers from the Washington Commanders last night. Who knows if he's even in North Carolina? Ike Botker was signed today. Literally today.
Actually, you know what?
So you might see starting offensive linemen play, which in that case is, why wouldn't you play Bryce Young?
True. And also, play Bryce even if you're playing with the new guys, because then the test for him is he has to tell each individual player what his assignment is.
Yeah, there's that.
You have to know the playbook so well that you go up to the left tackle and say, here's what you have to do. You go up to the left guard, here's who you're going to block. You go up to the center, you got to do it for everybody because they all got there, the morning of the game. I actually think they'll probably go the opposite. They'll play the new guys and just wing it because I don't think Dave Canales is going to play the starters. So I'll pick the Jets to win the game because, and by the way, I don't think the Jets are going to play like Aaron Rodgers, but I think they'll play more of their top-end depth chart guys. So I guess the Jets. Even though I want it to be the Panthers, and I want Bryce to play, and I want the starters to play, I think they need it.
Okay. Big MMA fight tomorrow in the UFC. UFC 305. Middleweight title fight. Dricos du Plessis, who is the champion, facing Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya, one of the best ever to do it, especially at middleweight.
He's the challenger?
He's the challenger in this one. By the way, the spread on this one, it's a minus 105 for du Plessis, minus 115 for Israel Adesanya.
So pretty close to a pick 'em.
Adesanya actually slight favorite in this one.
Yeah, but that also might be a lot of public money on him. He's so much more famous than du Plessis. I do not pretend to be an expert in combat sports. Again, I did promote earlier that you should subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will say that again because there are nice bite-sized morsels of information, short videos and things like that from Victoria Vodanecker about all the UFC stuff. So if you're looking for information, go there. I'm going to go with du Plessis. I think he's going to win. Why? Because there's somebody with a similar last name that won the gold medal in the pole vault, and
that's the reason why.
And that's why.
Okay. By the way, Israel Adesanya 24-3 in his career, but he's lost 2 of his last 3 fights. He lost to Alex Pereira.
He's been hanging out with the Zuck a lot. He's been hanging out with the Zuckerberg.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, I see that Zuckerberg's training in UFC, and I'm assuming paying Israel Adesanya a pretty penny to hang out with him.
I'm sure he is. But Adesanya lost to Alex Pereira, and then actually won his title back in a rematch. Then he lost his title once again to Sean Strickland, who du Plessis beat Sean Strickland to win the title. Adesanya now challenging him back once again. So that's where we are. Should actually be a tremendous fight. Adesanya up there in age, though, 35. It's kind of like on the tail end of the career.
It's the ultimate sports thing,
like
right?
Sports thing, yeah.
The oldest person to ever live, coming through ancient. I don't know how they still do it. 34 years old.
Yeah. All right, give me another one here. Giants, Texans.
Giants.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is playing.
Yeah. I believe C.J. Stroud is as well.
Yeah, I'm going Texans.
Texans, yeah, because they're just good.
Did you see how upset Stephon Diggs was on the sideline of preseason game 1?
No.
So upset might be overplaying it, but there was an animated conversation where Stephon Diggs to C.J. Stroud very much on like, hey man, let's get on the same page. Let's make sure I'm. It was a very wide receiver conversation. I'll put it that way. So I think they're going to have to appease Stephon a little bit. They'll probably get him the ball on the first drive to keep him happy. And then on top of it, you got to keep Nico Collins happy. Mm-hmm. And then, I know you got Tank Dell a touchdown in the first game, but you got to keep him happy. C.J. Stroud might have to play 3 quarters just so his wide receivers aren't mad at him.
He might. I could see Stephon Diggs being like, hey, look, I'm dressed to play in this preseason game. Yeah. Throw me the ball.
Yeah. And
otherwise, why am I here?
I think it was more like, get used to me being open, like when maybe you think I look covered because I'm about to shake free. It was. I don't want to say it was bad. It's just it did look like you might have to get him the ball in the second preseason game. Not bad. You're paying him a lot of money. That's going to do it for us here on The Drive. It's been a fun week. It's gonna get more fun from here.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna pick up speed.
By the way, 1 week from tomorrow, we actually have real college football games.
Let's go.
Games that count.
Which means next week is the last week of 99 questions about the college football season.
We are leading right up to it, sir.
We've been doing this for a long time. Panthers Jets this weekend. What do you want to see from the Panthers? What energy should the Panthers bring to that game? Well, we had that conversation earlier today.
By the way, you can listen to that game over on Mix 101.5. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. tomorrow. It's a 7 o'clock kick at Bank of America.
Our conversation from earlier about that game and what the Panthers can get out of it will lead off Overdrive here on 99.9 The Fan in just a couple of minutes. Stick around for that. Until Monday, have a great weekend, everybody.
Get ready for the ultimate football fan experience. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here with 99.9 The Fan. Join us tonight.